Welcome back to Don't Lift Off. So this week, I'm really looking forward to this week's guest. So I've known this guy for 30 years. He's held in great affection from anyone who's met him. Certainly from myself. If I could write a top 10 list of guests to have on this podcast, he would certainly make the top 10. Paul Taft. Goodness me, where do you start with Tafty? So, when I started work at Silverstone in 1997, Tafty was one of the old boys then. Oh, what a legend. What a character. Tafty started riding motorbikes in the 1950s. He was a works BSA rider. I've only just found this out just a few years ago. I think he was a multiple Metro Turbo. He was certainly, I think, a British and European Metro Turbo champion. Honda CRX champion. So basically a prolific one-make champion, one-make championship champion, if that makes sense. But much, much more than that. Such a great character. He was once introduced by my friend Rob Garofel as the only clarinet beekeeping instructor that he knows. And it's absolutely true, and that remains the same now. He used to soothe his customers by putting on classic FM as they got into a Ferrari. So I'm going to go down there to Worcestershire and see Tafty down his allotment with a bit of luck, which is where he spends most of his time now. So he's now... I think he's about 44 in Taft years. So I'll let him tell us his age if he's so kind tomorrow. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. I'm really, really looking forward to going down and seeing him. I've just looked through some of the old videos, Birmingham Super Prix and the old Snetterton with the old woodcut chicane. Not woodcut, what we're talking about, the old Russell chicane, I should say. It was hardly a chicane. Some of the footage that I've just seen from racing with Patrick Watts and Steve Soper, shunts with Steve Soper. I'm so looking forward to this. Hoping to come home with some Tafty honey at the end of the visit tomorrow. So, I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I'm looking forward to doing it tomorrow. You know, I was thinking, something I forgot to say. Everyone who's worked with Tafty does an impersonation of him. It's like, you can't not do an impersonation of Tafty. It's like, oh, bloody hell. And fighting with Brian Svensson, like, you don't know who you're messing with. I'm working on the rally stage. He's at the rally stage at Silverstone. There'll be mud hanging off the trees. So looking forward to seeing him. Your dog is beautiful.
Yeah, she's lovely. She really is my best friend, you know, and she goes everywhere with me, absolutely everywhere. Even I was one of the first, she's only a puppy then, but I liked going to a bit of classical music, and so I went into this church where there was some nice stuff on. So I thought, well, I better, and I took Louis in with me, you see.
Into the church.
A bit unusual for him.
How old is she? It's she.
She, yeah.
Louis, okay.
She, yeah, I know, you got a boy's name.
Well, it can be girl or boy, Louis, really.
Yeah. Well, I tell my grandchildren, no, it's short for Louise, because they say, you can't call her that, it's a boy's name. I say, it's short for Louise. So I got around that one. So anyway, I went to this church, and so she's all right there, and she's sitting next to me, and I'm touching her. She likes to be touched all the time. So, so at the end of the music, everybody starts clapping. So she starts barking because everybody's clapping. So I told her mouth shut because I wasn't sure that she should be in there at all. So I sort of sneaked her in a bit.
Brilliant. The number of stories that you and dogs over these. So I put this post out on Facebook. I was like, I'm seeing Tafty next week for the pod. What could I ask him? And I'll go through some of the things that some people
Who are
said.
you asking?
You just put it out as a post on Facebook. So I've got like 1,200 odd people and we've got quite a lot of mutual friends. So there's random people that have come out of well, they're kind of out of the woodwork, but but dogs is one of the main things that people say, like, ask him about when Bisto did this.
Oh, Bisto! I tell you, Bisto is an incredible dog. Probably the best dog I've ever had.
What type of dog was Bisto?
Well, it's very similar to Louis, but she was more of a mixture. But she was a terrier. She's black and white, the same size, everything. But I taught that dog to do everything. It literally could do anything. I mean, so I'll be sitting there in front of my log fire in the winter, and the dog has got a cat flap to go through in the back door, so they can go in and out when they want.
Right.
So I could hear her come in, wham, it goes, they come in at full pelt, the wham, wham, and the flap goes in. Comes round to the lounge door, pushes it open, goes and sits by the fire there, and the door's open. Bisto, you left the door. So I taught that dog to go and close the door again when he came back in. You can actually teach dogs to do almost anything if you're persistent. And and
it's all about reward, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Give them a reward for doing it.
And it's not food; it is a reward. And I've done the same with Louis. Now,
How old is Louis? Where is Louis anyway?
She's just 8.
Would she come?
Oh, she'll wander around.
She's 8.
She just 8 just the other day, and. We go over there's a lovely park opposite. I mean, it really is.
Oh, yeah, I've just driven past that. Lovely. Yeah. So we're not far from the centre of Birmingham here, are we?
Yeah, no, not far. No, about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I go over for a walk, and she's no good on the road. I don't trust her on the road. She's not a road sense. So we get through the gate, and I let her off she goes. I don't see her for 20 minutes.
She'll stay within the park, though, will she?
Oh yeah, it's mostly gated up, but you can get out. Plenty of places you can get out. But yeah, she wanders off. Chasing after squirrels, and just lots of smells, and what dogs do. And they like to run,
But she comes back though, does she? She comes back all right though.
Oh yeah, as soon as a whistle or shout straight back to me, and I give her a reward.
Right. So that's what it is.
Yeah,
of course
the whistle. It is. So although I can't see her, she can hear me all the time, and every so often she'll appear next to me. I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And you can train a dog to do almost anything, really.
You told me on the phone it's a mega one. By the way, I've started recording now, so we just.
Oh, okay.
I just thought I'd let you know that. They tend to be like that. You just go along as a conversation. Do you know what I mean? But you told me on the phone about I think it was Bisto. Did you say that you put him on the? Was it in like a parcel on the back of your motorbike?
Oh yeah, yeah. I went down to Patrick Watts. Actually, he lives right down the south coast, and anyway, I got my BMW at the time, and which I've still got actually. So I thought, well, I don't want to leave Bisto behind.
Is that still a GS? You had a GS, didn't you?
Yeah, I've still got it.
Have you still got it?
Yeah.
Is that the 1150?
Yeah.
I'd forgotten you'd got that, actually.
Yeah, it's the best engine, 1150. They're so torquey.
Is it a boxer engine?
Yeah, boxer engine, yeah. But with that engine, you have to keep changing down to the gear. Just do it in a high gear. You go through an island in fifth, and you don't want to go off in a hurry or anything. It just pulls down from nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got a backpack, put Bisto in it, zipped her up into there and tied her to me so she couldn't go anywhere. We went all the way down, down the motorway down to see Patrick.
On the back of this GS?
Yeah. And she loved it, she'd sort of look out the side of your hair and get the wind in her face.
Yeah. There's nothing better than seeing a dog either out of a car window or I don't often see them on a motorbike, I have to say.
No.
But just with their nose in the air. And, they love it, don't they?
People come past in the car. They see the dog, then they go back again and have another look and take photographs and things. Why shouldn't they go on? As long as they can't jump off or anything.
I heard the time when you. Now, I might not have got the circuit right on this, but didn't you take Bisto to Thruxton? But there was a special thing that you could do of like encouraging her to sit under some blankets. Down. Down.
Yeah, it was to get to the gate, you see. So
yeah.
I just saved the Bisto. I put the blanket over. No peeping, because as soon as you slow down, jump out and see where she was. You see, no peeping, and yeah.
I heard something about a dog on the back parcel shelf.
Going around. So who was it who was in charge then?
Is it Pat?
Pat, yeah.
Pat Blakeney, yeah.
Pat Blakeney. I said, Pat, I brought my dog with me. He said, okay. He said, well, not really. And so I said, well, I can't live with her. She'll have to be in the car with her. He said, oh, go on then, all right. So Bisto be on the back seat, you see. And so we're going down. Who was I teaching?
You were teaching someone.
Yeah, I was. Teaching somebody.
I thought this was just like before the day started.
Yeah. No, Bisto be on the back seat. Now we're full on, we're really going for it. So now we're going down to what's that very fast right-hander out the
Church.
Back? Church, yeah, going down towards.
I thought this was a myth. I didn't actually know this was a true story.
And so I'm to the driver, and I had given him all the instructions. So I peered over my shoulders. We're going through church, and there's Bisto, like almost horizontal, just trying to, get me thrown against the side of the car. And then back up right in the next corner, she's there again, like as if she was in a sidecar, keeping the ballast up. But anyway, Pat was ever so good, and he said, well, look, we're not allowed to really. He said, oh, yeah, go on, it's all right. And, Bisto really enjoyed that.
Well, Hamilton takes his dog Roscoe to Silverstone, so I think you're all right.
Yeah. Well, I did. They're much stricter at Silverstone, and you come to the gate and they look inside the car and everything. Anyway, I managed to get Bisto in one day and covered up again. I used to say, "No peeping, Bisto, whatever you do." Of course, as soon as they heard a voice, you're talking to get to the gate, and they said, "Oh, morning," and Anyway, so I got through once, and so I went over to where we worked and everything, and we get into the workshop. Okay, Bisto, you can come out now. Now she'll run round the workshop as fast as anything. Because she's glad just to get out the car. And, yeah. Yeah, well, the thing is, you can go down to Goodwood. They don't mind dogs down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can go down there and just keep it on a lead, or sensible,
Yeah.
You've got to be sensible about it.
I think it's probably after they've probably seen something like, wasn't it Rodrigo? It was a Grand Prix, like a Spanish Grand Prix, and they had lots of feral dogs. It might have been Mexico or somewhere like that, where the dog ran out in front of the car or something like that.
Right,
Silverstone was where we used to be the hares, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and they were as big as a dog.
Yeah, that's right.
Those things.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, as long as you keep them under control, I can't see them anywhere, to be quite honest. And just another something else came to mind. So occasionally I used to go to work on the bike at Silverstone on my BMW, and no, I didn't take my dog that time. I used to just go there just to give it an airing, really. and get to the perimeter roads, because you couldn't cut across very good. You had to go around the outside, didn't you, to get to the workplace.
Unless the crossing was open.
Yeah. So, and I just couldn't resist it, that from up to, where we cross over at the bridge.
Yeah.
I thought, I'll give it I got to just over 100 down there. It's quite narrow, isn't it? And bumpy.
The perimeter road Grand Prix challenge.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I always remember doing a bit over 100 down there. It's not that long.
Was that on the bike? Was it
on the bike?
That's a good effort.
Yeah,
that's a good effort. I thought I held the lap record in the 2-litre diesel Audi A3 pace car category. I thought it's about 104 allegedly.
Yeah.
Not that I recorded it at all on my own.
Yeah. Well, you got to sort of be sensible about things, but you do something just for the dare, really, sometimes, don't you?
I think that's the nature of the beast, isn't it? It's the nature of the beast. I mean, it's a bit of a crazy thing to be going. I mean, ultimately, you're going round and round a piece of tarmac, trying to beat another fella. And it's not exactly like world peace solving, is it?
Well,
let's face it.
Yeah. What about you after a day's tuition? I mean, you worked hard, didn't you, when you were there?
Yeah.
After a day's tuition, your brain was so dead, you just had to go and have a sit down with your eyes shut and recover, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it was that hard.
Yeah. You had to work hard, especially on on a summer's run when you'd be on track at like 8:45 and off track at like 6:45, didn't you? It was like one of 7 runs Elise experience.
Yeah.
And so you'd work really hard to get your guests done efficiently, give them all the laps, but get it done efficiently. So you've got that 5 to 10 minutes buffer, the re-energising, as Barfi used to call it, the re-energising window, where you'd all gather round sometimes and just chat about.
You get your brain back in, because you're sitting next to somebody. You make sure they don't crash. I mean, you don't want to get injured. You don't want them to get injured. You don't want to get injured.
Yep.
And so you've got to be honest, haven't you? And a lot of people who came to these things, Silson, they think they're coming to a race, or they're people they come with. They think they're coming in to do a race.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to go flat out. Well, they're just not capable of doing it because they've never done it. And you've got to be absolutely on it you've got to see mistakes coming before it happens.
You have. I remember John Pratt talking about, because he obviously used to work through the psychology of things. That's one of the things he does really well.
Does do, yeah.
And I remember him saying, he's going into the kind of the if you think about the state that a customer is in when they go into it, they're nervous, they're excited, they're going to be learning, a new piece of tarmac, a new car, a new technique of driving. They're trying to listen to someone at the same time. So they've got all this stuff, information coming at them. It's like they're not going to have the capacity to be able to think. They're just doing. Yeah. And it's you've got them in that degraded state. So you've got, like you say, you're thinking for two people, aren't you?
Yeah. And I never see, to amaze me, I used to try and keep drivers at a pace which they could cope with, but they're always trying to go, but they're out of their depth, and you've got to keep them within
unless you're doing some billy racing.
Unless you're doing some billy racing.
Oh my God.
I like to say I never actually I never crashed in a car with a driver, but only because I kept on top of them. That requires a lot of concentration, doesn't it? A lot of concentration.
It does. Porter cabin, Aston Martin. Who was it? I think that might be Ian Ridderford's.
Well, that's
talk us through.
Funny, really.
Talk us through that one. No, tell me actually before. So I'll give you a good excuse on this because I've seen this done before. So it had been probably, I reckon, about a 2007, 2008 Aston Martin. So they had quite offset pedals, didn't they? If you remember. And so the clutch pedal would be where the brake pedal is.
Yes.
Now, I've seen this before, and it always happens when you've got your guard down.
Yeah,
It was tell you, it was Mike Swinnerton. It was Mike Swinnerton that came up, which just reminded me. He said, whilst you were writing the assessment form in of how good a driver he was.
Yeah. Well, that's right. So you were out every 20 minutes or so with a new driver. You go around and you sort of guide them as best you could, and then you got to do you got to fill this form in and tell them how their driving was. Not particularly, don't mention how good or you just remember you wrote down. That was very good. That was good. Yeah, you need to, you have to write all this down. We only had like a couple of minutes to do all this. You have to. So you come in off track and you come into this compound area and there's cars parked around and you have to sort of manoeuvre around a few things, and you haven't got time, so you just rely on your drivers. Just sort of, you got Parkway. We started off over there. And so you've got to get writing because the next bloke's going to be in the car.
Well, you're writing it coming down Hanger Straight, aren't you? Quite you're filling in your C's,
yeah,
D's.
That's right. So you start writing as soon as you come in. No, you're not looking now. So, and I could hear the chap going, and hear the engine going and whatnot. So he says, "Where have I got to go?" And I looked up and I said, over there. And I carried on writing. So. All of a sudden, I heard the accelerator going on because I think he missed the brake pedal somehow.
Yeah.
And he was on the accelerator. Now we're going towards this porter cabin with a fence, one of those iron fences in front of it, with a few people standing there, and this one chap's leaning on the fence. Look, we're going straight for him. This chap's on the accelerator. Well, I haven't got any brake pedals or anything. All I've got is my verbal, what I've got. And I looked up and I said, brake, and he's still on the accelerator. And anyway, eventually found the brake, but we're already hitting the fence with this chap standing there. This chap ended up on the bonnet. We went through the fence, and behind that was the porter cabin. We actually went into the porter cabin. It sort of caved in, and we ended up sort of half inside.
I never realised it got that far.
And this chap was still on the bonnet.
What did his face look like?
Well,
was it a surprise?
My mouth was going, but nothing was coming out by this stage. Yeah. Well, we had quite a few incidents, didn't we?
Oh, dear me.
Talking about that, I think it was the same porter cabin on a different day. Anyway, I was in
Susie's boudoir.
Funny enough, it was Susie who absolutely laughed her head off. So I was in the porter cabin. I was on my phone. I went in there to get a bit of peace so I could hear what was going on. And so we're waiting for the next lot to come along before you got in amongst them and you before you take them out. So anyway, I'm in there, and I heard Susie's voice say, Tafty, come on, they're coming, they're here. So I decided to come out, and I had to get a move on. I ran out the the porter cabin, turned right, and I had to get over this rope, which was just roping thing. It was quite a low rope, fencing things off just to stop people going the wrong direction. So I ran out, went to jump over the rope, and caught my foot on it, and I went a right ball of chalk rolling down the grass. And funny enough, I was still on the phone, and I thought, well, I'm nearly falling off. So I lay there, still speaking to this person on the phone. There was Susie just laughing her head at me. Yeah. Susie was a character, wasn't she?
There was quite a good video, actually.
Good driver for a female. Oh, no, you mustn't say that, must you? But anyway, she was actually quite good, though. Can I just say a story about Susie?
Yeah.
When she was doing what series was she
MGFs.
Doing? MGF, yeah.
MGFs, yeah.
So she was like midfield, which was. Yeah, it was good going actually.
It was
a
really
fierce,
competitive.
very competitive
Championship, wasn't it? Yeah.
And, you know, she was the only female in there. And she was like midfield, and she was doing all right. Anyway, you told me the other day, it doesn't matter who it was, he gave her a tap up the back, and you know, she spun and like crashed because she'd been, anyway, whatever. So, you know, it was a bit of an accident, nothing too severe, but like annoying all the same. So the chap on the doing the
Commentary.
Came up to the end of the race. He said he started to talk to Susie, and Susie was still all sort of hyped up a bit. I mean, just got in the car and had a crash and stuff. So, you know, shook her up a little bit. And so he said to her, I heard that you got hit up the back. And she looked at him in the eye and she said, I like it from the back, and plenty of it. I went, and this is over the whole time. Yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
I thought, oh, crikey, that was a bit uncalled for.
She said he gave as much as she got to.
Yeah, a good girl. I saw her the other day, funny enough, I haven't seen her for ages.
Yeah?
Yeah. Still.
I spoke to her a little bit. It must be about 5 years since. Cause it was during lockdown, because I was out. I did a lot of cycling during lockdown, and I spoke to her quite a few times during then, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I was going to show you? This will make you laugh if I can find this. I dug out some old videos.
What's that there?
Well, I'll come on to that in a minute, but let me show you this first. This is an absolute corker.
Oh yeah, you sent me that the other day.
Oh yeah, I did.
I
did. So. This was around that sort of time. This is before any of the Stowe building was there. So you had all the porter cabins and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You and Svensson.
Oh yeah.
Brian Svensson,
yeah,
Nature Boy.
Oh yeah.
Always fighting. So let me play this.
Oh Brian.
Like I'm slithering around this corner, the other on the floor.
Oh Brian. Yeah, he was a character anyway. He was forever punching me. Whenever I tried to punch him. He was ever so strong. He's a wrestler. Well, he was a wrestler, you know.
Yeah, well, he used to do this, didn't he? He used to do all the kind of things that will make you jump.
Yeah, because you think he's going to grab you by the bollocks. So you go, and like, he used to. Yeah. Who was that who used to work in the office at Silverstone? He was
Andy O'Dowd.
Was it? No, not O'Dowd. The other chap. It was like, you know, he was a bit AC/DC, and he was a nice chap. But I always remember. He came out of the office towards Brian, and Brian went. He said, and the chap jumped back and he says, "I know what he's doing that for. He hasn't got any." Brian was such a character. You know, I used to see him on television way before I did any motor racing or anything to do with it. I remember seeing him on television.
No way.
Wrestling, yeah.
Did you actually see him on TV?
Yeah. It all came back to me. And
he said he used to fight with
Boy.
Kendo Nagasaki and what was his name? Shirley Crabtree, Big Daddy.
Yeah,
Big Daddy used to fight against Big Daddy.
Yeah.
I've got to get Sven on actually because he's such a character.
Oh, he is now. Yeah, I mean, you have to get your wits about you. I mean,
remember you two fight it and you'd say, "Brian, pack it in. Yeah. You don't know who you're dealing with."
Do you know, here's the thing, when we all used to get together in the morning and we'd all gather together to get what we got to do and everything. So Brian would be there, of course, and he'd do, as if he's going to do, like wrestlers do, they do an arm smash, you see.
Yeah.
So I used to do it with him. I used to go with him and go wham, you know, but I'd be hitting myself, you see, not him. I'd go wham, and he'd go wah, he'd go all limp like this.
That's it, yeah.
And then he'd fall on the floor. I'd jump on it. I'd do a gravity jump, land on top. I didn't quite land on top of him. I landed on the floor, but it looks at him. Then I get on, and I go smashing him like this. He'd go wah,
we got to hit,
and he'd go wah.
Hit your foot on the floor as well to make it go whack as well.
Yeah, that's right. So I'd get up and I said, that'll teach you, don't do it again. And he'd be there all limp, and he'd act as if he was like, I'd smashed the living daylight out of him. That chap was so strong.
Yeah.
And in the same sort of thing, we're all gathered together in one of the garages waiting to do this, that and the other. A lot of us, he'd pick me up and hold me in the air like this and walk around with me. Oh dear. Yeah, a real character. I really like Brian.
We used to work down on the rally stage as well.
Sorry.
God. And Sven, so I used to work. None of us had a clue what we were doing, did they? They must have had just
we weren't rally drivers, but they used to send us down there as rally drivers. Yeah.
It was like me, you, Justin Cadman, Henry Stanton, so all the rowdy boys. I was just saying, actually, I did a little intro before this. I was like, everyone's got a Tafty impersonation, but I remember you saying, like, there'll be cones down and there'll be mud hanging off the trees.
Yeah, well, it was such fun to go and do that, wasn't it? Down the rally. You didn't have to be a rally person. You know how to, hang a car sideways or whatever.
Well, that's where I learnt to do it.
Yeah, that's right, the ralley, it was good to drive around the rally. You could really let yourself go a bit, couldn't you, and have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Sven, when he used to do the rally rides, because he was a showman, he would just give the most flamboyant angles. So straight out of the pits, loads of revs, and then big launch out the pits, and everyone would go, "Ooh!"
And he'd still have his Wellington boots on. He'd go with him, he'd go out the pits. He'd go one, and it was like you'd go out the pits, a right, a sharp left, and very short straight into a high, and he'd absolutely flat, no lift whatsoever in any corner. It was so sideways.
Yeah.
He had such car control. That chap.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Incredibly good rally driver.
He was so good on the Caterhams as well. So amazing car control. You think, right, you've run out of steering lock now, and he'd sort it all out on the brakes.
Yeah,
he'd
that's
sort
right.
It all out, just hold it on that slide, and then just bring it back.
That's right. Yeah, I went with him to one or two jobs that we had to do, and we came across this kid who wanted to have a bit of a race. So he wanted to have a bit of a tussle with you. So it was me at the lights, and this young kid would be there, and in the car next to you in this car. So we go off and we go into a left right. And I didn't hear anything come off the throttle. I said, "What are we doing there, bro? We're doing left foot brake." "Oh yeah. So I do it all the time."
Yeah.
I tried it once, left foot braking. I nearly hit the barrier doing it, in my race, and I thought, I'll never do that again.
Oh, really?
My brain couldn't get round the fact that, controlling the two together. And rally drivers can do that.
They have to do it. It's funny, actually, when you go and do ice driving, if you don't left foot brake, you just understeer everywhere.
Yeah.
You just understeer everywhere. And so you eventually, you just have to do it, and then you eventually train yourself to do it.
Yes.
But for me, it was a little bit easier because I'd come out of karting, and of course, doing go-karting, it's a left foot brake.
Yeah.
And so for me, naturally, even in a prototype nowadays, if you're doing a demo lap, I'd always right foot brake, actually, most of the time, naturally, right foot braking, because I'm a bit more dexterous with my right hand, and I'm right-handed. And I'm guessing you're the same.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
It makes a difference if you were left-handed or whether your left foot would be more dexterous. Because the kids in single-seaters now, they just left foot brake all the time in everything.
Do they?
Yeah.
Blimey.
In everything.
Oh, I can't do it.
Well, it's the era though, isn't it? I mean, you had to use the clutch.
Yeah.
Back in your day, I suppose.
I did go to Norway with Brian once on the ice driving.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, we had a fabulous time for a few days.
Right.
With Peter James, the book writer.
Ah, the book writer. Right.
Yeah, he wanted some training, so we both went and just had a jolly good time, really.
Yeah, nice.
But I remember going, to this. We went to the lake where we were going to do it, and I said to the chap that was in control of, he was English as well, and saying what we're going to do, and don't go there, do that. And you got cones following. And I said, well, there's big cracks in the ice, but they'd frozen up again. I said,
Right.
the cracks, is that okay? She said, oh, yeah, don't worry about that. But, it's forever in my mind, those cracks in the ice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't like that, really.
Yeah. Yes, because we grew up in the UK, and you don't realise in the UK you could never drive, you can never even walk on ice. It's always a risk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Walking on ice in the UK, it's just it's never thick enough.
Yeah.
Whereas over there they have it for months and months.
Yeah. But I remember looking at like the weight of a car on it. I said, whoa, these cars are a bit heavy. Sure, are you sure it's all right? Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. It's okay. Oh, you sure? If you go through, you're a goner, aren't you?
Yeah. Send them out for the tractor test. That's the important thing.
Mm.
What got you into motor racing in the first place, Tafty? Because you said on the phone you used to work for BSA.
I was apprentice at BSA, yeah.
Right.
I did a 5-year apprenticeship there, yeah.
So what? Because didn't your family have a bakery or something? Am I right in saying
that was my grandfather, actually. He had a very big bakery, actually. Used to, through the war and after the war, and used to supply half of Birmingham with bread and cakes.
Oh, really?
And bread, yeah. It was a big concern.
Was it Taft Bakeries or something?
No, Hawley was the surname,
right?
Which was from my mother's side.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Hawley. And so yeah, it was it wasn't until some time later, actually, that I found that they also bought or started another bakery down in Ruislip, which is, I think, north of London, is it? Somewhere down that way.
Yeah.
And that was just as big. And then they bought another one up north by Leeds, somewhere up by you.
Right.
So it was a very big concern. Anyway, my granddad died. They rarely got past 70, did they, in those days?
Mm.
Yeah.
It's been, 40s, I suppose, was it? Something like that?
Yeah, but I mean, but I remember my grandfather, obviously he was pretty well off, he was, and he started from nothing. He borrowed £100 off his brother or something to start baking bread, and that's how it started, the back streets of Birmingham.
Right.
And he built it up from nothing, and horse and cart delivering the bread, and and I used to go round to his house when I was quite young, and on a weekend, on a Sunday afternoon, just sit with him and my grandmother, and the maid had come in with the trolley, the tea and the cakes and everything, wheel it in, and I sit there with my granddad, and I did that for quite a few years. We used to go off in his Daimler sometimes and have lunch out somewhere. Right. So my granddad would be driving, and I'd be sitting in the back, and I must have had a brother and sister with me. I can never remember which one it was. But my granddad, these very thick glasses, his eyesight was deteriorated over the years. But anyway, he'd still drive his Daimler out for lunch. And I remember we're going out towards Stratford, I think it was, and we got stuck behind this car, and it was toodling along. And then we got to this straight, so my granddad put his foot down. It was all automatic. Then you could hear the engine go, and we started to go past it. And there was a car coming towards us in the distance. I thought, well, man, even at those days, you're thinking, well, I hope it's okay. Anyway, just get in, and but it just things that sort of go through your mind, I think I was being groomed, actually, to go into the bakery.
Right.
In those days when I was quite young.
Did you have quite a lot of brothers as well? How many brothers?
Oh, yeah, I'm one of 13.
13?
13, yeah.
I'm guessing you're a Catholic family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And I was second eldest.
13, really?
But anyway, I didn't go into the bakery. A cousin who was older than me, and so he sort of went in as the, when my granddad was winding down a bit. And then my granddad died, and so he ran the bakery. And it obviously was a bit beyond him because he shot himself.
Ah.
Yeah, which was a bit of a shaker.
Right.
And then it was bought out by a company called Grand Metropolitan.
Right.
And he sort of, and when it was all sold off to Grand Metropolitan, lots of shares were distributed between our family, well, all the families that were connected with, so we all had shares and things.
Right.
Not huge amount, but quite nice too. All my brothers and sisters sold theirs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they sold all their shares, all had new cars and everything. I thought, what are they doing? Well, I didn't. I kept mine. And I still got them, funny enough.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it just brings in a few quid, nothing dramatic, just a few quid. So occasionally you just go out and buy something nice. Which is quite nice.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's also a connection it's the sort of reward that keeps giving that reminds you of your granddad.
Well, very much so, yeah. One thing I always remember about my granddad, he always had these lovely boots. They were sort of quite high and they're laced all up my front. I always remember they were always immaculately polished because he used to sit there with his feet up like this on the weekend and have, tea and cakes that the maid had brought in. And I always remember these boots. And, as I got older, I bought a pair, which I've still got. These
really?
Boots. Yeah,
I bought some boots.
Yeah, nice quality. I always keep them absolutely polished all the time.
Yeah.
And it's funny how things stick in your mind, isn't it?
About keeping stuff shiny. It's attention to detail, isn't it?
Well, about your grandparents and they were nice. Well, both my grandma and Nana was nice as well. Yeah, no, you do, don't you? You have fond memories of your...
It's funny when you talk about... We were talking about scrambling on the phone briefly the other night, and I've looked at some videos. In fact, I'll come on to that in a second. I'll show you some of the videos that I think your brother has put online, and it's from like the BSA stuff. And my family were into scrambling. My granddad did scrambling on my mum's side. Yeah.
Okay.
And so for me, like scrambling was scrambling when it was called scrambling back in the days.
Now,
motocross now. Yeah. But it was like my uncles. So obviously my granddad's sons, they were into schoolboy scrambling.
Oh yeah.
And for me, I was not allowed to do that because one of my uncles ended up in a wheelchair. In my mum's uncle, and so. But the smell of the
Castrol R.
Yeah,
that's right. It's still, it's really got a sharp sort of raft to it, doesn't it? And I went into scrambling. Well, not only was I apprentice at BSA, but my father was a bike racer. He was pretty good as well. He was a good engineer, very good engineer, and he built his own bikes and developed. And he used to do quite a lot. And he went to the Isle of Man and won. He only went once, won the race, won it by 6.5 minutes,
really,
not seconds, and broke the lap record and never went back.
Wow.
Yeah, because my mother said...
Did they have different categories back then?
Oh, yeah.
I guess this would have been in the 50s, was it?
1949, this one, actually.
Right.
And so my mother shook her finger at him because he got 9 children at the time and one on the way.
Yeah.
So she was quite right. And... So anyway, he never went back. So he was quite good. He was a good engineer. He used to, he did. He prepared his bikes well.
So is that what you got the bug for motorbikes?
When we left school eventually, he said, we started on his encouragement. We started to ride in scramble. My brother did first, and and so I sort of followed on after a couple of years.
So is this your eldest brother?
My eldest brother, yeah.
And what was his? Was that Peter?
Yeah.
Peter, yeah.
He was 2 years older than me. And you know, when you got that 2 year gap, you never quite catch up. You know, you keep trying to get as good as he is and try to beat him. You never do, because he's getting better as well.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until right at the end, really, that I did catch up and did start to beat him.
Right. Do you think that made you better and better because you were always striving
I think so,
to try and beat him?
And I did start to beat him in the end. Then he packed up because it was, well, whatever reason. But I got to about top 20 in the country,
right?
Which I was pretty. I needed another 2 years really to get into the top 5, top 4 or 5.
Was that when you became the BSA rider at that point? Was it? They used to give me. I was partly sponsored by BSA. They'd give me an engine too, which was a much better engine than I'd use, or a gearbox or anything that broke. Give me a few bits rather than be on their bike which they prepared. Right, okay, so it's kind of like a satellite support kind of thing.
Yeah.
Were they a local company then, BSA? I don't know anything about them.
Blimey, so here, it's in Birmingham.
Right, okay.
So I did an apprenticeship there, and I'll tell you, what I learned at that apprenticeship, as an engineer, it's stuck with me all my life. You never forget things that you've learned from that.
Yeah.
And mostly I was in engine development.
Right.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it in there. Doing racing engines, and of course you're not let loose on your own. You're always with somebody who's over you and showing you what to do and whatnot. But it really was such an interesting place to be in. And I always remember, we used to have brake test, brakes we call them, where you mount the engine on and then you'd run it up and then give it a power run to see what sort of power it was putting out. You're trying to improve the engines all the time. So anyway, we this one Gold Star engine which we were trying to develop.
Was the Gold Star I've heard about this Gold Star.
Yeah,
that was one of their premium bikes, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was. It was there.
I might actually have a photo of it somewhere. I think I found something.
Yeah, it was. That were world renowned. That the BSA Gold Star. It used to win a lot in America. And anyway, we're trying to develop this.
Something like that. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
This is a BSA.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
GD34 Gold Star Scrambler, which I've been asked to get going.
So that was the sort of thing that you would have. Rode, then, was it?
Yeah, I've got one.
The guy who owns it.
You've still got one.
It's like brand new. It is absolutely like brand new.
Wow.
A 500 Gold Star Scrambler, which is exactly as it's like a works replica really, because they modified things differently, and I knew how they work because I was there all the time. But yeah, mine's like a works replica.
Wow.
And it's
see if I can give it a try and see if it'll start and how it'll run for me.
So someone's restored it, have they?
Yeah, a mate of mine. He was actually a mechanic for me while I was racing for quite a few years. Best mechanic I've ever had. He was such a good engineer. He was absolutely brilliant. Just trying to think of his name as I'm talking. Dennis Osborne. Absolutely brilliant engineer. And I said, "Oh, Dennis, you couldn't do this, help me out with this bike. Could you do it up for me a bit?" He said, yeah, no problem. So when I bought it, I bought a box of, I didn't buy the bike complete. It was just like a box of bits and full of frame, everything, box of bits. And to be quite honest, I sold a load of scrap really. It was, somebody got bugged all these, but yeah, that'll do. Anyway, I gradually went through it over the years and built a nice bike out of it.
Nice.
I've never used it yet.
Right.
It hasn't even run yet.
Hasn't it?
No. I did all the engine up myself because I knew what I was doing anyway. And the engine is like brand new. It's it's all new inside, you know.
Yeah.
Rebore piston, new everything, and all the bike is new as well. And it's a lovely bike, it really is.
Lovely.
Absolutely. And they're fairly rare now.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So you talk, this is 1950s, late 50s, was it?
Yeah,
50s?
I was I started riding when I was from school, I suppose, 57, maybe 57. By the time I got to 59, I was starting to get quite good.
Yeah.
And 59, and I had to go and do some army. I had to go and some national service.
Yeah.
And I was just
Was
when
that
I was
mandatory back then? Was it mandatory to do that?
Yeah, you have to go and do it. Somehow my eldest brother didn't have to go in. Oh, how did you get away with that? Anyway, he did. And I'd had a mastoid done on my ear, and it left me slightly deaf. When I went for you have to go for a medical when you go into the army. So I played on this ear, you see, that I was a bit deaf and whatnot. Anyway, they ignored it, and just anyway, all of a sudden I was in. So the mastoid didn't make any difference, and quite honest, I don't think it did really. I might be a bit deaf in there. I am, but anyway. So I had to go and do national service, and
where were you based then? Where were you based?
Well, you start your training in Catterick, and
Catterick Garrison, yeah.
Oh, they knock the shit out of you there. I mean, at that age, you know, I'm 21 or something like 22.
My uncle was up there, and I bet he's a similar sort of age to you. I mean, bless him, he's passed away now, but he was based at Catterick.
Yeah. Well, you know, at that age, you're a bit cocky, aren't you? And you know, and you know everything. Nobody can tell you anything. You know everything at that age.
Yeah.
So when you get to Catterick, they soon knock it out of you.
Yeah, knock some discipline into you.
Don't off, blimey.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're going through this basic training, which lasts for about 6 weeks or something, a couple of months, and so every day you're in these Nissan huts. No, they weren't Nissan huts. You were in these proper built, but we're all in dormitories. You know, you're all everybody's all in the same troop. That's your troop, so you're in this dormitory, and they're very particular the way you have to make your bed every morning, and have to fold every blanket. It had to be, I'm not kidding you, within a fraction of an inch, all piled up ever so neatly, and so the staff sergeant would be in his bed at the end of that was his place. He'd come out with his stick, he'd sort of go there and looking at, he'd stop at me and look at my folded blankets, he'd get his stick and bowl them over onto the floor. Not good enough for Signalman Taft, do it again. I thought, oh, no, okay, yes, soldiers. So, you know, I mean, they belittle you, which is, you know, you have to. That you've got to learn discipline.
Yeah.
It's essential in a war situation.
Yeah.
You've got to do what you're told.
Yeah.
Anyway, I soon so going on from that, and so again, this sergeant comes out of his little room at the end there, with all his their webbing, they're blancoed with all brasses on them. All the brasses have to be very polished and blancoed every day. You have to blanco. So he'd come out with his stuff over his arm like this, with his stick. He said, "Right," he says, "who wants to clean and blanco my stuff today?" And he'd look around the room like, "Oh, don't look at it, don't look at it." He said, "Oh, Signalman Taft." I caught him out the corner of my eye. He's looking at me. "Signalman Taft, would you like to do my clean myself for me today?" And I went, "Do I have to, Sir Sergeant?" "No, you don't have to." I said, "All right, I won't then." Oh, blimey. And I saw his face stiffen up. And so he walked past me, and anyway, someone else volunteered to do it. An hour later, he says, right, Signalman Taft, I want you, when you finish tonight, I want you, in your spare time, I want you to go down to the kitchens below, at the bottom of where all the food is prepared, and see the staff sergeant down there, and they all give you a nice little job to do. This was my spare time. You have about 2 hours a day to yourself.
Yeah.
And or less than that. So anyway, so every day for a week I had to go down there. I was washing up and peeling potatoes. So you didn't even have time to, write to my girlfriend. And I remember being under the bedclothes with a torch, writing a letter to her, because that's the only spare time that I have.
Yeah.
Anyway, you soon fall into line, and then they knock the cockiness out of you, and you learn to give a bit of respect. And not that I didn't have respect, but you're just cocky at a certain age.
Didn't you? What did you say on the phone the other day? Did you try and get away on one occasion, or did you try and go on a bike somewhere or something like that?
Oh yeah. Well, so you do your basic training, and then they wanted to send me to Aden, which was the other side of the world, a little island in the middle of the ocean somewhere. I thought, I don't want to go down there. And anyway, I was in the middle of my scrambling, and I was starting to win a bit. I was starting to get quite good. And so a chap that used to come, you go to a scramble, and you have local people who used to come with you and just be enthusiastic. And this one chap used to come with us, and he'd gone in as an officer. And I spoke to him and I said, have you got any influence? I don't want to go down to Aden. He said, don't worry, he says, leave it with me. And he was stationed at a place called Ripon, which wasn't far from.
Yep.
And that's where they trained all the drivers and motorbike people. It was a training camp for that. Anyway, excuse me, they trained me to be a clerk. You have to learn to type without looking at the keys. To pass out, you have to do 60 words a minute.
Can you still touch type now, do you think?
Well, no, I doubt it. Probably would come back if you tried it, but
so you could touch type back
it wasn't my sort of thing.
Yeah?
Yeah. So anyway, I went there as a clerk to the, just under the commanding officer. No, I wasn't under the commanding officer, I was under his next one down, so I had to type out all the what they call it, the things that people had to do, go and type them all out and go and pin them on the notice board outside. That was my job, really. But which was a bit boring for me, but they did teach me to type. So, and anyway, after a few months, I was getting, it was about a year now, and I thought, I'm getting fed up with this, and I wanted to, because I'm doing the scrambling, because I got to the point where I was earning actually quite a lot of money at it, and being in the army, stuck in the army, I couldn't get to do all the scrambles I wanted to do, and not just earn money, but of course you enjoyed riding and you wanted to do it and you wanted to do more of it. So I was speaking to this friend of mine, and he'd come from Catterick as well, and we both ended up there. And I was saying to him, I can't remember his name, I said, I'm just sick of this. I need to get out of there. He said, yeah, well, I was thinking the same. So I said, well, how are we going to do it? And he said, well, I'm going to report that I keep getting migraines in me. I said, oh, that sounds good. And then I remembered I'd had this metro. I said, well, I'm going to go deaf. Also, which I enjoyed doing, I was quite a good shot for whatever reason. I used to use my father's, it was a powerful 2.2 air gun. I used to shoot quite a lot with it, and I got quite good at shooting. And then, when I got into the army, I realised I was quite a good shot, so they put me in the camp shooting team, and we used to go all over the country doing competition shooting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
With rifles as opposed to clay pigeons?
oh, these were 303s. It's just proper, full on. And Bren guns. The Bren gun was a lovely gun. It was on a tripod.
Is that a machine gun, a Bren gun?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And but you lay down to fire this thing, and it was on a tripod. It was dead accurate. Absolutely
Right.
a lovely gun to shoot. And we used to fire Sten guns as well. They were, you fired from the hip.
Right.
Then when you fired it, it used to go whoop and whoop, and you had to learn to sort of keep it down. So when we go on a range and you had to go with a Sten gun, I mean, you couldn't do that now. I don't think. I'm sure it's quite.
What's the Sten? Is it quite a big caliber bullet? Is it in the Sten gun?
Yeah, it's about 2.2 size, I think.
Right,
So,
right.
But anyway, you'd run down this range toward the target, and you'd stop at a certain end. You fire off a shoe at your target. You run down to the next thing, do the same, and anyway, so you learned to shoot. And anyway, they realised I was quite a good shot. So I went round with the camp shooters, and we used to go all over the country doing these competitions. It was quite good, I must say, and I quite enjoyed doing that. And also, they had a trials team, motorbike trials team.
Right.
We used to ride army bikes, but they had competitions for army. And so I was in the trials team as well.
Right.
So, one way or another, really, I was having quite a good time.
Yeah, so there's sort of a bit of competition in both of those. So competitions sort of flowed all the way through your life, really, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, and so, the bikes weren't probably quite the right thing, but, you're on a bike and you were, so I used to do all that. So anyway, this one weekend, there's a scramble coming up, fairly local, a few miles up, 10 miles up the road. And it was televised. It was quite normal then to televise scrambles.
It was amazing, the footage. I'll put this in the background just to play it while we're at it, because I think it's Murray Walker doing the commentary from it.
Oh yeah, Murray Walker used to comment a lot on the scrambles I used to do.
Right.
But anyway, so I entered this thing, and so I had an A40 pickup then, which was it was all right. I used to drive it. I mean, if you had a car in those days of any sort, you were the boyo. All right, it was an A40 pickup, but it was still a four-wheel.
I think that's my old man. That was his first car, actually, A40. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, because most people had, if they had any transport at all, had a motorbike. Anyway, I had so I used to carry. I took my bike. I had a 350 and a 500 Goldstar. I took them with me on the back of my up to camp, ready for the scramble the next weekend, and so like on the Friday before, with the scramble on the Sunday, I think it was. Anyway, or Saturday or so. When you're at camp, every so often everybody has to go and do guard duty.
Right.
That means you're out on the front gate, and you have to be there and question people who came in, and it was around the time of the IRA, so they had to be a bit strict about it, and they did have guns there which were with live rounds in. They had to, so anyway, I entered this scramble, and coming up just a few days before, they put me on guard duty for the weekend. I thought, oh, sod that. Anyway, I went round and spoke to a few mates. Said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll pay you a £5 if you can do it. Oh, £5. Actually, it was a few quid in those days. He said, yeah, I'll do it. So I gave him the £5, and he sneaked on and signed in for me, as me, and he didn't win. So I sneaked off and went and did this scramble. I did quite well. I won a race. I think I was second in one and about third in another. But it was televised as well, you see. So I drive back to camp. Now, you know, I earned a few quid as well. And so I drive back to camp and park my pickup round the corner and just walk in through the gates, and this sergeant major there, Signalman Taft, what do you think you're doing? I said, oh, yes, okay, Sergeant. Come and get your backside over here, I want to talk to you. And so, I've got army stuff on or anything. I was sitting in my civvies, and I strolled over there. He said, what the hell do you think you're doing? You're absent without leave. You're supposed to be on guard duty here over the weekend. So what have you got to say? I said, well, you know, when I went to, you can't do that. You're absent without leave. He said, that's so serious. You're probably going to end up in jail for this. You'll have to go and do a few weeks in jail. I said, you're joking. He said, oh yeah. And anyway, I'm reporting you to the CO, so the commanding officer of the camp, I want you to get your best kit on, all blanketed up as smart as you possibly can be, and I want you to report for 7:30 in the morning here. So you be there, and you get all your stuff on, so he said, right, he says, you're the only one who's got to see the commanding officer today. So he said, stand there and stand at attention, don't you move till I call you. So then, so he disappears into the commanding officer's office, and I'm standing outside, rigid, to attention, and I'm standing on this brass line that they said, you got to stand with your toes, don't stand on the brass line, I want to see you 1 inch behind it. And that's why you sort of take the attention on this brass line. So he comes out of the commanding office, and he left the door open. He says, I want you to, when I give you the word, I want you to march in there, and there's another brass line in there, and I want you to stand to attention 1 inch behind the brass line. Have you got that signal? Yes, sir, yes. He said, right, quick, march! And like, he's shouting at you, he's about 1 inch from your face, and he's spitting all over your face as he's giving you these orders, and he's bellowing into your ear, top of his voice. And he, left, right, oh yes, okay. And so the commanding officer's there and leaning on his desk, and he's sort of he's looking down at something on his desk, and he looks up at me and he says, oh, Signalman Taft. He said, all right, stand easy, will you? Stand at ease. So I stand there. And he said, I've got a report that you were absent without leave. I said, yes, I'm sorry, sir, but I'd entered this scramble, and I was only put on guard duty right at the last minute and everything. I rambled on about, and I rambled on for a minute or two about what had gone wrong and everything. He looked up and he looked me in the eye and said, bloody well done, he said. I saw it on television, absolutely fantastic, he says. Now, what do I, he said, next time you want to go and do a scramble, don't go off with that left, come and see me and I'll give you a pass out. I thought, oh, thank you, sir.
No way.
Yeah. And he said, now, what I want you to do now, go and draw a bike out the stores and take all this lot up to the moors and show them how to ride a bike properly. Okay, you're dismissed.
No
and
way.
Like this staff sergeant, like he was frothing at the mouth, like he thought he got me in jail before I even got there. And
yeah.
Anyway, and so I got away with that, and,
wow.
And I was okay after that.
You actually got a bonus out of it, really.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
it's funny. You getting into trouble. It reminds me. Can you remember? I think this was a race intensive course, and we were running on the national circuit. And I just remember you and Wizzo got posted. So they'd make you go out and stand out of your corners, wouldn't they?
Right,
and Wardy, Chris Ward, was in charge of the. And you'd have your radio.
Yeah.
One of the radios that you hadn't dropped down the toilet, which is another story, I'm sure.
Yeah, I did.
Thanks, Gethin Jones, for
Amongst
that.
all the turds.
But you and Wizzo, you'd clearly been posted out to the same corner, and you were clearly out there, like, this is quite nice out here. Oh, it's a nice day. I think we'll stay out here. So you were supposed to then come in after each session, weren't you?
Right,
So we'd all come back in like after the single-seater session to do debriefs with our customers, like, no Tafty, no Wizzo around. Wardy getting on their radio saying, would Lord Lukens 1 and 2 please come back from their corner?
That's a
And
good
you then
accent
arrive
of
like
Wardy.
5 minutes later, like 2 naughty schoolboys.
That's a good accent of Wardy, actually. Northern of
Mr. Dunn.
just going on about that accent there. It was that he used to come on the radio, and he had Wardy's accent to a T.
Probably Warby. It'd probably be Steve Warburton.
No, it wasn't Warby. I can't remember who it was. He wasn't taking off Wardy, he was taking off Swinnerton's voice.
Right. Yeah.
And he had it off to a T. So he'd come on and say, all right, you are here, with his northern accent. Good accent. And then Swinnerton would come back on the phone. Right, this is the real Mike Swinnerton. I want you to listen to me, please. I can't remember who used to take his voice off, but absolutely perfectly. Oh, it was, no, it's gone again. Yeah, come on then, Louis. Come on then. You want to come up? Come on then, Louis. Mind the glasses.
Come on then.
Louis. Come on. Over. Do you want to come on? No, off she goes. Yeah, well, we did have some fun. Oh, I remember we went to Snetterton doing training drivers. We had to go around various circuits as well, didn't we? I seem to remember. Well,
yeah,
we did.
That was part of the championship. Was that when you were working for Silverstone? You did that.
Yeah, we did go to other circuits on.
Right.
As
I know we went
part
to
of,
Donington. We had a bit of time there.
Yeah.
I wonder if we did go to Snap.
Well, we did the once, and so again we were sent out to corners, and we were in one of their Silverstone cars, and I'd go out to wherever I was and was sent to. So I'd sort of, instead of leaving the car down there, down up this bank, and you stand on the bank. So I drove up the bank and parked on the top, so I could be in the car and still do the same
It's like
thing.
outside of the bomb hole or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's right. It was down by the bum hole, yeah. So anyway, so at the end of the session, so I went to reverse back, and there was some sort of post sticking out the ground a bit. And it's hooked onto the it had a spoiler on the front. It's hooked onto the spoiler. As I reversed back, it pulled the spoiler off. I mean, this is serious, because they didn't like you damaging the car. Quite rightly too. Well, I mean, it wasn't an accident. I didn't do it on purpose. But I shouldn't have gone up the bank in the first place, of course. Anyway, pulled the thing off and made a bit of a mess. And I thought, flipping hell, I've got to do something about that before.
How am I going to get away with it?
Wardy sees this. And anyway, somehow it was all patched up with tape and bits, there's those plastic ties. We tied it back on, and I got away with that one. But yeah,
There's a number of things. Is it going to polish out? Am I going to get away with this?
Yeah,
I've been through the gravel. Right?
Oh, I don't. Just another story on a damaged car. We had those. Aston Martins, didn't we? Used to use at Silverstone.
Yeah.
And they were nice cars, weren't they?
Well, they were until your customer got hold of it.
Well, yeah. Well, anyway, so we had to go and fuel them every morning. So we had to drive from the compound and drive over to the petrol station, which was the other side of the circuit. So we had to go through the tunnel, if you remember it.
Yeah.
Quite steep going up the other side, out the side, and then you sort of turned and went down to the petrol station. And now, as I came out the tunnel, you had to. It was quite narrow, and we had to turn fairly sharp at the end of it. Well, the curve, which I hadn't noticed, but carried on, and it was sticking up a bit.
Yeah, it's quite
well,
high,
I turned
those
a bit
curves.
too early, yeah,
Right.
which was, you know, unless you were absolutely paying attention to it, you didn't get it right. Well, I didn't. He caught the sill on this, and it ripped the sill, you know, didn't rip it off, but it took all the paint off out of the sill.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey, I thought, geez, that didn't sound too good. When I looked at it, oh, flipping heck, I'm in trouble here. And so, you know, I went and filled the thing up. So then I went back to, before Wardy was out and about, and I went and borrowed a black and a blue stencil, those they with the felt pencils, and I penciled all in this. I mean, it was right down to the fiberglass.
What colour was the car? Was it a blue car?
Yeah, it was a blue. Yeah, it was a blue
Brilliant.
car. Yeah,
Brilliant.
And it had, you know, it was right down to the fiberglass. And when I'd done, I thought, that ain't bad, actually. That's not bad. I never even known.
Take the eye away.
I think 2 months later, they found out. They suddenly noticed that somebody had damaged one of the cars. I thought, well, I'm not only up to that.
Yeah. Wipe the fingerprints off.
Yeah, absolutely. But, oh, crikey. Yeah, you know, although it was hard work, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, well there was lots of days. That was the thing. It was lots of you know, back in late 90s into noughties, you'd be doing. You know, I remember you'd fax through your availability, and you'd be doing like 23 days.
Yes, that's
in a
right.
month, which was great because you were earning good money from it as well.
Yeah,
As a junior who'd just come out of valeting, like I had done, it was.
Yeah, well, not only that, the day was hard as well. You're not going to do quite a lot of the day, but it was blinking hard work. If you
I remember Duncan Verco talking about. He said, "You just get home and you're having your food and you're just staring into midair while you're cutting up your food and you're just eating. You're just staring. Your eyes are like nearly bleeding.
Well, actually, he does sum it up in many ways. Duncan, he wasn't the best of drivers, was he? Really? He was
fast.
okay, but I mean, like, anyway, somehow he had the to the gap, so he managed to get the passenger ride thing, and we were using the shorter circuit, weren't we?
The
where you get
Southern
through.
Circuit.
So you get to the chicane, don't you?
Yeah.
It was quite fast in, but you have to get it right. And anyway, so Verco was doing the passenger ride, so he was
Was it an Escort Cosworth? This time when he was in an Escort Cosworth?
I don't think it was a Cosworth. I think it was a bit lesser than that.
Probably one of Peugeots or something.
Yeah, I think it was one of the Peugeot. So anyway, so he's doing his ride, and he got it wrong on the way in. But he insisted on doing it as fast as he possibly could, which is silly. There's just no need to go at that. If you went at half pace, the passenger's going to be thrilled to bits, aren't they? I mean, the way we were used to going at very quick speed, you got used to it, and it was, you know, enjoyable, really. But to Billy who got in there, it was scary, and they thought they were going to die in the first few corners. They just thought they were going to die. And girls would scream. So
I took my mum round once. She was in. We used to be able to take people around in the back, didn't we? Before someone rolled one at Goodwood.
In what?
In a 306. We used to be able to take passengers around in the back, and my mum was in the back of this 306.
Yeah.
And I remember screaming like a wounded animal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway. Duncan, so Berger, I'm sure it was us. Anyway, he was doing the passenger rides, and so he got it wrong on the way in. He lifted off, obviously the thing went sideways, and he whacked the barrier sideways, and the car ended up on his side. So anyway, they stopped the session, rolled the thing back onto its...
I think this was the Ray one. This was the Grimesy one. I think it might have been Grimesy, that one.
No,
when he rolled it back on and...
No, well, he might have done it as well. But anyway,
probably.
Verco, drove the thing back to the thing and got another car. Anyway, in the afternoon, he does the same thing again. So the thing is up against the barrier. So Duncan's got out, sat on the barrier, having a fag, and this voice from inside the car was saying, "Help me!" The passenger was still in the car with his on his side. "Help me, please!" And there was Duncan having a fag on the side of the car, sitting on the barrier. Oh dear, oh dear.
There was one. There was. Can you remember David Henderson? I'm wondering whether that one was the David Henderson one, because David Henderson did a similar sort of thing
been, yeah.
that went. But well, the only reason I remember that is because Ed Peed was a really good friend of David's,
yeah.
And he said, I just remembered Ed saying he leant in through the door, opened the door, and said, "Are you going to get out?"
Yeah.
But I think they both went off there. That's one of the few corners that didn't go off, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
That corner was renamed after so many different people.
Yeah.
Like when I first went there, it was known as Edge, after Malcolm Edge, who I never met, but I just know that the corner was called Edge. So it was originally named after Innes Island, was then called Edge. Yeah. It was then called Jane Wells. Jane Wells. Yeah. Then Wilson, Justin Wilson.
Right, yeah.
Right. Who else did it? Yeah, Verco. Yeah.
But the thing was, Henderson. I could never understand. There's no need to go at that pace. I mean, it really didn't, did there? Unless you were just trying to give yourself a thrill or whatever. But
well, that's the trouble. Is you'd just be doing that, wouldn't you? Sometimes it's a blurred line between the ego getting out of control, and when you're young, you don't know about. You don't know about egos. You're just trying to beat everyone all the time, aren't you?
That's right. Of course you do. Who was another crap who crashed a Ferrari? Who flipping gambled it down the track.
Ian Ashley. Yeah, someone else.
I mean,
Ollie Allen was talking about him.
Yeah, well, the thing with Ian, plumbing a driver and everything. Well, he did Le Mans. I don't know how many times works driver he did.
I need to get hold of him actually. I wonder if anyone's got his number.
I think I have actually.
Right.
Anyway, he's BRD, so I can easily get it. But anyway, Ian. He used to get people going absolutely flat out.
Yeah.
But he'd, so being the passenger side, he'd hold the bottom of the steering wheel so they couldn't move it, you see.
About that, yeah.
And so he got away with it most of the time, but this once, going into, what's that one, past the Formula One pits, to the right hand at the end.
Abbey.
Yeah. Well, anyway, even with him holding the car, still stepped out and like he gambled down the truck. His door came off. Anyway, nobody got hurt, but like flipping heck!
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's right.
Why go at that pace and scare yourself as well?
Yeah.
It's just I could never quite understand that.
Well, you coach Ollie Allen for a period of time, because he said, asked Tafty about arm wrestling with him.
Oh yeah, Ollie, yeah, I did. Ollie, he was a tough character. He was.
Yeah, was a boxer. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that at the time, and in fact, and I read about him just recently.
I put him on. He came on the podcast.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a character he was. I didn't know he did all that at the time, but he's quite a good driver.
He is a good driver, yeah.
And
I'd like to see if someone gave him an opportunity in touring cars. I'd like to see how he got on, because he's very good in a front wheel drive car.
Yeah.
Well, he was very good in a rear wheel drive car, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, he told me this story. He said, I was in this pub with my girlfriend. He had a very tasty girlfriend. He's very good looking. And he said, I was sitting there, and this chap kept looking over and looking at my girlfriend all the time. He said, I'm not having this. He just went over and punched him. Oh, really?
Brother Club.
Really, Ollie? What do you do that for? He said, you shouldn't look at my girlfriend like that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But there.
Yeah, no, he's a top geezer. Well, listen, we'll give it a little break and then maybe come back, because I want to ask you also about when you went car racing, but
Oh, yeah.
we'll have a little break, shall we?
Okay. Louis.
It's all right.
No,
It's all right. You can come and sit on my knee,
It's all right.
can't you?
No, you're all
you.
right. All right, down there. Louis, down there. Go on then, down there.
Yeah.
That's
Ah.
That's a spot.
Yeah, Mom, then. Absolute sweetheart.
Lovely dog she is. Absolutely lovely dog.
Oh. How old is she? 8 years old, did you say?
Just ate the other day, and I forgot it was her birthday till the day after, because I was going to buy a nice big juicy bone,
Love it.
which I got a few days later. The first thing they do is go and bury it somewhere else.
Oh, they do, yeah. Oh, so we've got 2 cavapoos.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, so she
Ah.
goes... one of them will eat it straight away. If it's well, she'll eat a chew. You usually give her a chew, and one of them will eat it straight away. The other just goes and buries it. But she wanders around the house whimpering, stressed out because she doesn't know where to put it. So she's going,
Yeah, that's right. I don't know where to put it. Yeah.
Then you go and assist her because are you stressed? Let's put it under this pillow. Try this pillow. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, I was going to get some of these, some of the videos that I dragged. Well, I'll ask you to tell me some of these stories. It's quite funny. So these are some of the Facebook things that I put out. Right, what should I ask Tafty about? Martin Shaw asked.
Oh, Martin, yeah, I like him.
He said, also ask him about driving my Rolls-Royce Corniche around the classic with the roof down when the heavens open.
Oh dear. That was embarrassing.
Did you in a convertible and it just start tipping?
Yeah, well, he bought this. He bought this Rolls-Royce. Oldish, yes, a few years old, but it's absolutely lovely car, immaculate. And I got over at the classic, and so I said, that's a lovely car. Yes, we'll go and try it. Go on, it's the key. So, okay. So off I went, and didn't go out on the road, just shove it round. I wandered around a bit, and all round the compound, and I thought, dark clouds look a bit, better make my way back soon. And anyway, in no time at all, it started to rain. Well, it's not too bad at the moment. And so I started to make my way back, and then suddenly, heavens opened up, and I was getting thoroughly wet, and of course the hood was down. I thought, blimey, it's going to go mad at me. And I was looking for the switch everywhere to put. I knew it was electric hood. Not a way. I couldn't find it. And I stopped and I said, "Do you know anything about this?" He went, "No, mate, don't know anything about this." So I got round to where the pits were, the F1 pits, and I thought, if I can get in there, I can get into perhaps into one of the garages, or at least on the cover a bit. And so there's a chap on the gate, says, "You can't come in here." I said, "Look, it's raining and everything." "No, you can't come in here." I just pushed him out of the way, and I was in. And I couldn't find an empty garage, so I where his overhangs of it, I managed to get. I was on the part of it was undercover.
Yeah.
And 2 people from nowhere said, "I'll help you, mate." They came and somehow they did it by hand, got the hood and pulled it over for me.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And he was phoning me, but I didn't hear the phone, so I've been on silent all the time. He was going to tell me where the switch was. And so he got the inside of the car thoroughly wet, and I was so embarrassed when I got back. I said, "I'm ever so sorry." He said, "It's okay, mate, it's all right. We'll just get some towels, mop it up a bit." "No, it's all right." I imagine anyone else, really, with a nice car like that, they'd hit the roof, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And, obviously he didn't like it, but he didn't make a fuss about it or anything.
Fair play.
Yeah, it was fair play, yeah. Yeah, and what a lovely car it was, too.
That was the second story. He also, of course, asked me about Bisto, as did getting to talk about his dog Bisto. Mike Barker said, ask him about his motorcycle trip around Africa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went down with my son down to Africa.
Right. How long ago was that?
Well, not that long ago. A few years ago. And, excuse me, the idea being that when we got down there, we were going to get a couple of BMWs and go off into the hills, which we did. And so the one chap we were staying with, he'd got a BMW, so I used that one. And I think Mark, my son, he hired one. And so anyway, and off we went. And they're gravel. They don't have tarmac roads on the outback there.
Right.
It's all gravel roads, and you're getting a bit of a move on. Not silly, but
You're probably quite well versed with that, from your scrambling background.
Right, no, but the whole thing's weaving like this, and you think, oh, I don't want to be coming off this thing.
Yeah.
I remember going down this one road, and there were some ostriches in this field. They weren't wild. They were sort of in a pen, pen, like it was a few miles long, this pen. So I was riding down the road, so they were keeping up with me, going up.
Really?
Big strides like this.
Yeah. Fast things they are, I should think, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yeah, I must have been doing, 40 at least.
Yeah.
They were keeping up with me. They kept looking to see where I was, and
probably thought you were, I don't know, it was either prey or coming after them.
Yeah. So anyway, the target was we were getting down to this village on the map. That's where we're going to get to. So now we're off any roads, but we're into track only, where a lot of people go walking. Well, lots people go walking, and it's tall grass and a few trees here and there. But we were warned and said, well, be a bit careful. There are, I think there were tigers or something, or leopards or something. There are about down there, so, you want to be aware. Yeah, okay. Oh, anyway, we went down, and these tracks, they're bare tracks, and they're a bit wild and bumpy. It's not a road at all. And we got to this part where we got it round this hairpin. It was quite a steep climb, and bearing in mind we're on sort of road tyres, and so we'd got to get a bit of speed on. We had no run at it, so somehow you got to get a bit of traction to get some sort of speed to get up this bank. And Mark had a slightly almost like a trials tyre on his. So,
right.
He got up and it was all okay.
Knobbly thing.
So I could see him sort of up high on a road up there, or looking down at me. He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, it's all right." But I'd stalled on a bit of a ditch, and I was okay, and I was just getting it across this ditch, and anyway, the bike fell over, and then so he came running down. He didn't have to, but he did. He came down. He took the bike off. He said, "I'll get it up." And I said, "Well, I'm okay. I can do it." Anyway, he got it. Of course, he had to do it, and just to show how good he was. And he got the thing up there, and now we're up on this top ridge now. So I walk up and get up there, and now we set off on the next trip. Now there's no trail at all. We're in long grass, about this tall. So we're riding. We were standing up, and we're in sort of second gear, just going along, sort of a huge field, and there were like mounds of rocks here and there. And you could see the village where we got to. It was sort of just down there, a few miles away, but you could see it. So anyway, in this field with the long grass, there's the odd boulder. Anyway, I'd sort of half hit a couple of them, but it was still okay. Anyway, I hit this one pretty heftily, and it broke the sump.
Oh.
Knocked a hole in it.
Right.
So So now the oil's leaking out.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I checked the oil. Well, it's only leaking out slowly, but it is leaking. And you know, you're going to have to do something about it sooner or later. So we get to this, we're through this field now. Now we're sort of going down. A track appeared again, and it was on the side of a hill, but there was a bit of a track cut into it. And by this time, we'd run out of water. So obviously, you carry all your water with you. By this time, we'd both run out of water. So anyway, we stopped. And so there was a gate. We could see this gate about 200 yards away, 250 yards away down the track. He said, well, I'll walk down. Oh, we come to this ditch. That's right, a huge ditch, as big as this room. Almost as deep, but certainly half as deep. But there's no way you couldn't ride through it, even as it was. We had to either build a bridge or something to get over it. So he said, well, I'll walk down to that gate before we have an attempt at this big ditch. And I'll see if the gate's open. So I was sitting there, and it's boiling hot, you know, and things are buzzing around you. And and bearing in mind, you're getting thirsty now. We'd run out of water for an hour before. Now we're getting thirsty. So I was sitting there, I was looking down this bank, and there was this long grass, about this long. It was very green, just in this area. I thought, I'm sure I can have water down there. So I got off the bike. I scrambled down this bank, all steep and loose, and got down this bank. Long grass. Part of this grass bank, there's a lovely pool of completely clear water.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I wonder if there's any snakes around in there. Anyway, I was so thirsty, I just got in and drank. And then just as Mark had put, I said, oh, water down there. And he bought the cans, and we managed to fill them up. And he said, anyway, the gate's shut, so there's no point in, it's locked, so there's no point in getting over the ditch. Well, I was working out how we're going to build. Somehow you couldn't get round the ditch either way. That was very steep that way, and that's too steep to go. You know, you have if you're going to go down there, you got to get to the. I was trying to work a way of building a bridge or something. Anyway, we didn't have to, so we turned around, and half an hour or 3/4 of an hour before, we passed this hut where people go walking. You get this odd hut,
right?
So that if they get stranded, they can get in there.
Yeah.
There's bunk beds in there.
Right.
Not clothing and everything, but there were somewhere you could lie down.
Yeah.
And we passed this one further back, so we decided to go back down this steep climb which we'd come up, back down there, went to this hut, and by this time it's starting to get dark. So we get to the hut, and we're out of water again, and Mark said, I'll go back to that stream and, fill the water things up again. And so it's a serious problem, when you're in that sort of heat, you need water.
Yeah, you just need water,
your effort all the time with these bikes, it wasn't just like rolling on the road. So you're constantly thirsty. And anyway, he was gone for half an hour. And I was lying down on this one, it was a double bunk, and I was in the lower one. And I had this torch. I got this little torch I'd found in my bag. I'd forgotten I'd got it in there. So that's all the lighting I'd got. And the hut was like, they had double opening, the top opened, and we could have both open, or just the top.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mark was gone for some time, so I was lying there, put the torch on occasionally, and on the bottom of the bedpost over there, this great fat spider came out like this. Whoa, I don't like spiders. Whoa, when he came round, I'm sure his eyes looked at me, and he actually walked up on somewhere onto the top bunk, and I thought, blimey, I don't like that. I don't like spiders. And anyway, I thought, well, put the light off, he won't be able to see me. So I lay there in the dark, and then Mark came back eventually, and he got some more water again. And I said, we got no food with us or anything. Because this leaking oil and things not quite right going wrong, I looked at this map. There was a map on the trail, and I looked at it, and I thought, that's where we're going. But I could say, well, there's a village over there. It's over the hill, the other side. At absolute worst, we could dump the bikes, and if anything happened, we'd walk to this village. It was about 3 or 4 miles away, probably. But at least, I could see a way out just in case anything happened.
Yeah.
And anyway, mate, Mark came out of the water, and I said, I found a piece of chocolate in my bag from, I put it in there from a dinner or something left over. I said, I broke it off. That's your dinner, and this is mine. That's all we had.
That's the only thing you had?
Yeah.
Wow.
And anyway, the next morning, of course we had our phones with us, but it's such a weak signal. You could only get a signal for a few seconds every so often. And eventually Mark did get a message out too, and they sent a helicopter out and a search party and everything. Oh, we didn't need all that, but they did anyway. And anyway, we sort of wiggled our way back, and eventually we joined up with somebody, and then we were back. And then this chap said, well, the boss of this area, he wants to see you. So we went into his office. Oh, Mark had that everywhere. There was the absolutely beautiful flowers, wild flowers. They were absolutely lovely. And Mark just picked one and tucked it in the back of his bike. It was like, the chap said it was still there. So we went in to see this chap. He said, we found you all right then. I said, yeah. I said, thank you very much. He said, well, you're in trouble, you two are. He said, those are wild flowers and you are not allowed to pick them. And he went on and on about this. And Mark said to him, he said, look, you were on about this flower here, and we were like, yeah, we could have died out there, and all you're on about is this picking this blinking flower. He said, up yours, mate. I don't care what you've done, up yours. And if you don't mind, and just leave us alone. Like, that's all the bloke was interested about.
The flowers?
Oh my
God.
Pick one blinking flower.
It sounds like you made it back all right, though.
Yeah, we did get back all right. And then I got a big bill for the sump repair and everything, which was a bit of annoying.
No Steve Page around to weld it like he did with my
on
the Triumph back in the day.
Do you ever see anything of Steve Page? I think about him
occasionally. Well, I'm linked up on Facebook, but occasionally seen him at Palmer's whenever I've been there.
Oh, that's right.
For such a long
still
time.
there at Palmer's?
Yeah, he was in the workshop at Palmer's. He was like, workshop manager.
Good mechanic,
very good.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. I'm going to ask you about this. There's a couple one. Phil Bennett, it says, ask him about being the #1 salesman of Reliant Robins. That sounds a good one. Did you used to sell Reliant Robins?
Yeah. I was in a family business, motorbike business, and gradually developed into Reliance and Robins and all this. Anyway, we used to sell quite a lot of them. Yeah, it was quite a good living, really.
Fancy racing one, then? Didn't fancy racing one?
Yeah, well, they used to turn over very easily because one wheel at the front, it doesn't work,
Yeah, well, Jeremy Clarkson did that whole thing about them, didn't he? Kept rolling them all the time.
Anyway, what happened was, brother had to go into, I'd left the business, and we won't go into that. So I'd left the business, and this is about a year or so later, he said, I've got to go into hospital. You couldn't run the business for us while I'm away. I said, yeah, you're coming to me now, you're in trouble, aren't you? Well, okay, I'll come and do it. And I did. I went down. I spent about 3 weeks there. I saw more Reliance in 3 weeks than sold in a year. I was in my element. I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
No, Reliant was like 10 miles away, and I was constantly sending various people off to collect all these Reliants. I used to bring them back in threes, and some would drive, somebody on trailer. And I was selling them as fast as they could feed me with them.
Really?
I sold a hell of a lot in 3 weeks. And
was it the car business that got you into car racing then? What I'm interested how the transition happened from going from bikes into cars.
Yeah, well, that was the bike business, and anyway, big disagreement, and I won't go into all that. And we fell out, and I was paid a pittance to get out of the family business. And anyway, it doesn't matter at all. It's all a family sort of field thing. Anyway, so I was out of the business, and I made my own way, you know. And then I went to work for somebody, a chap called Ken Sedgley, a good mate. He was a good scrambler, actually, a good rider. And so he said, well, come and work for me for a bit. So I did, and he was selling motorbikes. And I lasted a year before I got sacked by his manager.
Right.
That's the only time I've ever worked for anybody, you know. I thought, I'm not doing that again. So anyhow, I was sacked from there. And so I worked on my own for quite a bit. I did fiberglass. I used to put fronts on Reliance, so we're forever turning them over, you know.
Right,
unstable. I was forever putting new fronts on them, and I go down to fine art, and I used to do one in 2 or 3 days. I put a front on, it was gone. And I did that for a good bit, and it's hard work, but I earned some good money at it. And then my younger brother said, well, I want to start a business over so-and-so. Do you want to come in and join us? And Dad's going to put in a few quid for us to start us off. I said, okay, let's have a go. And now I did. So we were there for quite a few years, and we were selling cars there. And it was quite a good business. But my younger brother, he was the office boy, you see. He wanted to be in the office, and I was the grafter in the back, which I wanted to do anyway. But, you know, he wasn't getting things quite right, really, Greg. And so he sort of paid me off and threw me out of that business. And then Greg's a bit of a wild one. If I think I'm wild, he's absolutely twice as wild as me. And you better sort of block that business.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was then that Greg had started racing. So while we were at the business, or just before we started that, he started racing in a Fiat 600. I remember painting this stripe over the top of the car for him.
Yeah.
Just to make it look a bit nicer. And they used to, of course, a rear engine. They used to drive around with the bonnet open at the back.
Right.
Wasn't it? And anyway, they weren't competitive enough. But anyway, that's how he started racing. And then he said, why didn't you come and do some car racing, Paul? I said, no. I haven't got any money. I just, I can't afford that sort of, I've got that sort of money to go car racing.
Yeah.
He said, come on, I'm doing it. I said, well, I haven't got any money. And then a week later, he said, look, there's a Mini up in Manchester. Let's go and have a look at it.
Ah, Minis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a special saloon Mini.
Right.
And so anyway, he persuaded me. So we drove up the M6 and I look at this Mini, and it was all shiny and looked nice. And I bought the blooming thing, and quite honestly, it was absolute nail. It was painted very nicely, but it was everything about it was wrong. Anyway, I sort of went through it make sure everything was all sound and safe to drive. And it had these great big steamroller slicks on the front and little narrows on the back. The thing was unsteerable. I mean, it was just like every time I put the power on, it had so much grip on the front, the slightest ripple, it would pull it across everywhere. Of course, little narrows at the back, it was just... Anyway, the first race at Mann, I just finished last. It was just undrivable. And in the back, they'd taken the rear subframe out and put all this girder contraption trying to... everything was wrong about it, and it was all bending at the back. And so I got in my little garage at home, and I opened the back, took the back out, and I was pushing it on. So I could see all the things like twisting where all the, we're supposed to be rigid at the back. So all I did was put some little gussets across the corners. Oh, that's miles better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I made it at least drivable, and got some decent tyres on the front. Went back to what everybody was using, which were tyres about this wide, nice little alloys. And the thing was steerable then. It was okay then. And the engine done. I had an auntie die, and she'd left me a few £1,000, and well, we all got a few £1,000. So I had the engine done properly. So the engine was half reasonable. It was quite a good engine. And so then went to Mallory for the second race, and I qualified. Instead of qualifying at the back, I qualified about third row or something.
Right.
And then the flag goes. It flags in those days, not lights.
Right, yeah.
And flag goes, and I get into the first corner to Gerard's, and I'm second. I thought, I can't believe this. And I think I got in equal with the chap, and then somebody from further away came right round the outside, big broadside, ran us over, and he was gone. I went, bloody hell. I mean, I never, not me used to cars. I've never seen anything like that before. I thought, flipping out, that was a bit scary. And anyway, so I was lying second now, and I got away from the chap that was originally there. And then, so I caught this chap up after a few laps, and I was behind him. And I thought, well, it's only my second race, I better just settle down a bit here. And so I followed him. And I thought, I could have gone through there. And now I could have gone through there. No. So I'd done a lot of scrambling, so I used to rate dicing with people. And I thought, I'll wait till the second last lap. I'll nip through. No, hopefully I'll get over the line. Anyway, with about 3 laps to go, he blew a head gasket, and I didn't finish anyway.
Really?
But that was my second race, and so I did 6 races the first year. I won 2 of them, so I was very, very pleased with that. And it sort of went on from there, really.
This particular photo that I've got now, I didn't realise that this was in minis, but I've heard this story before. Do you know what that photo is from? Because I can tell you what the caption says if you don't.
Well, I've seen it before. Was that my big crash that I had?
Yes.
Is that Soper's car?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Steve Soper.
I'll tell you how the pair of us didn't die that day. I just don't know.
I should say,
it's the
British
biggest
touring
crash I've
car
ever
champion
had
Steve
by
Soper.
A long way. That's the worst crash I've ever had. I'm not kidding you. The pedals, the brake pedal, they're nearly touching the seat. That's how big the impact was.
Oof. Where was this? Oh, it was at Brands?
Yeah.
Whereabouts at?
Yeah. Out of paddock, down the hill. Steve, he was a dirty driver.
Would he say the same about you?
Well, I don't know. He might have done, but I didn't know. Well, he couldn't get past me a lot of the time, so he just used to whack me from the back. If you got the side, he'd whack the side of you.
Yeah.
Or keep bumping the back of you. And dirty, all right. He was a rough driver anyway. But we're still best mates,
Yeah.
We still get on all right together. Anyway, he managed to get there, coming out of paddock, and I went, oh, and then he went whack, and we both went off on the inside, and just halfway up the hill there was catch fencing into a barrier, which is like, 90 degrees, I think. We must have hit that at 60 or 70 to a dead stop.
God.
I mean, I remember it coming towards me, and I was thinking, this is going to hurt.
Yeah.
And flipping heck it did.
Yeah.
I pulled this rib here. It still sticks out now.
Oh, yeah.
It tore 2 ribs off the bottom there
God.
under the, the seat belt. And
I particularly like you having an argument in the ambulance afterwards.
oh yeah. Well, Steve was knocked out, and the marshal came round to my door and it wouldn't open because the aperture had gone right, closed right up. So he went round the other side and he said, "Come on, get out this way." I went to go. Oh, blimey! I didn't know I had the rib. The rib stuck in me. He said, "Oh, you all right?" No, I'm not. Anyway, he said, "Oh, yeah." Anyway, I managed to get out, and Steve was still knocked out.
Wow.
So they put me in the ambulance, and then Steve sort of came round. They put him in as well. So Steve is lying there, and the nurses said, "Come on, lie down." I said, "No, I can't. My rib just hurts too much." And so the ambulance went flat out across the field, and it was all bumpy like this. I was going, holding my rib, stop. Anyway, we get back to the hospital part at Brands, and so no, I'm in one bed and Steve's in the one next to him. There's a curtain between us.
This is like something out of some film like Days of Thunder or something.
We've got a curtain round each other. So I'm like, "No, God, flip." I said, "Blimey, my rib it half hurt." And so Steve said, "You all right, Paul? I know you're grunting a bit." I said, "Steve, my bloody ribs, you sod, you've absolutely bashed me to bit." He said, then he went silent for me. He said, "I've got a nurse in here and she's looking after me." He said, "How's your nurse?" I said, "Well, I haven't got one at the moment." He says, "You want to see mine? She's absolutely lovely." I said, "Is she? Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah." "Oh, you want to come and see?" So I struggle off the bed, pull the curtain back. She's a great big nurse, great big piece, she was. She's a nurse, and not walking down the. I said, "You bastard!" I took all this trouble to get off the bed to see this nurse, and she's a great big thing. He just burst out laughing. I said, "I'll get you for that."
I'll get you for that. Now, I've heard that story. I've heard that phrase somewhere before. Where have I heard that phrase before?
Well, I'll get you for that. It comes from Sensen, I expect.
So, I'll tell you a story here. So, right, okay. Let me get this comment up from a friend of mine, a friend of ours, Steph Hodgetts.
Oh, yeah.
When he got pulled over by the Rozzers after the Christmas work party.
Steph who?
Steph Hodgetts.
Oh. Well, I got pulled. Oh, blimey, yeah, that was a laugh.
Can you remember who it was that pulled you over?
Yeah, it was the two of them. I've forgotten who they are now, but I remember their face. I can't remember.
Steph Hodgetts.
Yeah.
And me.
Oh, and you. Yeah.
Well, let me tell her the story, and then you can finish it off.
Okay.
So we're down the White Horse, and we're let's say we've had a pint.
Well, it was no, it was a Silverstone.
It was a Christmas do, wasn't it?
Yeah, Christmas do.
Yeah.
We'd all had a few drinks, so we weren't pissed or anything.
No.
Yeah, that's right. And we were down where, did you say? Was it?
It was the White Horse.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was the White Horse. No, I'm going to go out. Are you going to be all right, Paul? Yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah,
so remember at the time I was selling blue lights, wasn't I? Remember those blue, bright blue flashing lights? Photon microlights they were called. So entrepreneurial in me. I was selling these blue flashing lights. Yeah. So anyway, you go into the car park. I'm like, "Here, Steph, let's go and get him with one of those blue lights."
Yes.
So we came down. And so we're coming on the A43, so we're following you. So it's me and Steph behind, and you're in your old 205, Barfie's old 205 diesel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so we got alongside. Well, actually, I can't remember.
No, before that, you started flashing the blue light behind me, and I went, "Oh, I've been drinking. I not a lot, but I've been drinking." and then it'd go off, and then it'd come on again. I thought this doesn't look good. So And then, of course, you left the blue lights on, and I stopped, didn't I?
Well, because it got darker as you go out of out of Silverstone.
Yeah.
The street lights went away, and so it
Yeah,
got darker.
right,
and
yeah,
then we were like, not having this. He's not pulling up. You were slowing down,
Yes.
but you weren't pulling over. So we got right alongside you. Flash, flash, flash.
Yeah.
But the best bit was you didn't even look across. You didn't look across to see whether it was, you were just like this.
Yeah.
And then the window came down a little bit.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then
I
just
thought
after the
I had
speed
it,
camera.
yeah, I thought this, I had it.
So we're flashing the lights.
Yeah.
You pull over to it was a lay-by, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And we got out. We are laughing so much.
Yeah.
We're laughing. So remember, I used to sell those little BB guns. So we're laughing so much. So I'm driving. Steph gets out. Steph's laughing so much he falls on the floor because he can't control his legs. He's laughing so
Yeah,
much.
that's right.
So he gets out, falls on the floor. I get out, get my BB gun, which is in the glove box, poke it in through the window, which was half down.
That's right.
Can you step out of the car, please, sir?
You did. I said, and I let out a stream of language, didn't I? I mean, I don't swear normally, but
You said to me when I started the podcast, and this may need bleeping. You'll like this one. So you sent me a voicemail, which we then played.
oh, yes.
Hello, you fuck. I'm gonna get you for that. I'm gonna, you bastard, you bloody you. I'm gonna get you. I was absolutely scared. You fucked the absolute life out of me. You bastard. I'm gonna get you tomorrow.
I never swear. I never ever swear. Yeah, I don't
I might have to bleep that a little bit.
Yeah, I think you will actually, but yeah. I mean, I just
so
don't.
funny.
I just, I never have sworn. I don't mix with people who swear.
It must have rattled you though that night.
I was scared. I thought I thought the police, and I've had it, and what you remember then? That we went into work the next day in
Yes,
Swinnerton.
we played it on the tannoy.
Yeah, he brought it and then played it in front of her, and there was a lot of instructors there.
It was over. It was like 50, 100 instructors. 'Cause
Yeah.
it must have been. It must have been. I tell you what, I wasn't a Christmas party. It must have been like a Swan National Day. It would have been like it was like the lease car event because that was so many instructors on that event.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Get out on the tannoy.
Yeah. Yeah, he played in front of all the instructors, and everybody started roaring with laughter. I was so embarrassed.
No swearing.
Yeah. yeah. If you believe a bit of that, I mean, I never swore like that. I mean, I just don't. But it just shows how much stress I was under then.
Yeah. Yeah, because you didn't look out the window. You didn't look out the window, right? So you must have just thought it was the rot.
Yeah, I did.
It was quite a bright blue light, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I really thought it was police. It looked real. This is the thing. Although it wasn't on the roof, it was like inside the car, but you don't twig at the time.
No, you don't, because it was so dark and it was so bright.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I won't stitch you up with any more. I just thought that was really funny. That.
Yeah, well, it was funny, and and it went on to the next morning, which was still embarrassing.
I won't keep that voicemail message. Don't worry, I won't keep it to bring it out 20 years later.
No.
There was another one that Jonesy asked about, and I'm intrigued as to what this is about. He said, ask him about the Knickerbook chicane and sending the lads down to B&Q. How to be quick through Knickerbook chicane. Send the boys down the B&Q the evening before.
Oh, that was a CRX race. Yeah, Honda CRX race.
Right.
Anyway, we done qualifying. I was on pole, and down you go round Esso at the bottom of Alton. The long hairpin.
Yeah.
And then you come back, and then they put in the chicane, don't they?
Yeah.
Left,
I
right.
think they call it Shell nowadays, the hairpin, but was it called Esso back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a curb on the way in, apex curb, another curb, and everybody's cutting the curb on the way, and they're getting inside the curb and gradually worn the grass away. So the hole got bigger and bigger.
Right.
So it was a complete disadvantage to drop in this hole. It upset the car so much.
Yeah.
So I went to the mechanic and said, look, this is the situation. Go out to the chicane out there, fill that hole in so it's level again. So I knew if I was on pole, I could go straight in. I knew that it was going to be okay. Well, everyone else thought that the hole was still there.
Right.
Well, I knew it wasn't because I'd had it filled in.
No way.
I pulled about 5 car lengths just on that one
just
corner.
To get away, just at the start.
Yeah. Being confident it was filled in, I was straight across and I was gone.
What do they fill it with? With rocks?
Just the dirt. No, just the dirt that had been spilled out of it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So that was thinking ahead. And,
yeah.
Another story on that with one out at where was it? Not Zandvoort. Big crash at Zandvoort.
I should put this video while you're thinking of your story. I should put this one on to kind of remind you of CRX. Gives you a nice little theme of CRXs. There's one from Snetterton, which is an absolute beauty.
Teammate, this time getting the better of.
But this is like from Snetterton. Sorry to interrupt you there, Tafty.
Yeah.
Dave Loudon. But the in-car shot of going through like the Russell chicane. So how many years did you do this for then?
1.
You just did it the 1 year?
CRX, yeah, I just did the 1 year.
And that you must have won it that year.
I did win it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Including that year, the second year it was on, there were 16 at the 30, 16 people, 14 drivers had all been champions in something else.
Really?
Single seaters, everything. So then 16 of them had all won championship. So there's Patrick Ross, he takes a bit of beating, Patrick Ross. But he's a very fair driver, he'll never collide with you.
Right.
He's a bloody good driver.
Yeah.
Much more car control than I'd got. Very clever bloke.
I remember you telling me, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I remember you telling me that there was only one place that you'd get him. It was just on the corner entry. You said that as he went on corner entry, he'd just make it, he would step a little bit. That was on
the one before, the old, that was the old, what do you call it, the long right-hander before...
Bomb hole.
After the bomb hole, the next corner.
Russell.
Is it? It was a long... Snetterton, yeah.
Yeah.
That was before they altered it and put the sharp...
Yeah, so it's... Well, you'll see it, I think, in a little bit. I think it's... Yeah. I think here it is now. Coming through it now. There you are, the old...
Yeah, that's it there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, coming into... No, that was the chicane bit through... Where you went, and then you went past the pits then, didn't you?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The one before it, Coram.
Oh, okay.
Coram,
yeah.
So we come out the bomb hole and going into Coram, I mean, everywhere else, I was just looking for there's always something that the driver in front does and doesn't get quite right, and you're just looking for this flaw in where you might get an advantage, and the only bit was turning from the bomb hole into Coram. And as Patrick went in, he always used to give it a little flick just to get the back out.
Yeah.
Every time he did, he scrubbed a bit of speed off.
Yeah.
And so every time I closed
just a little
on it,
bit, yeah.
And I thought, So I was thinking about this, and this is the only chance I've got here. And I thought, well, I've got this in mind. And you see, everybody was cutting that corner there. I was, but
did you? You got. Is this the race where you got black flag?
Yeah.
Which you then ignored.
I didn't see it.
Okay,
and I'll tell you why. And nobody believed me.
Right.
But everybody was cutting the corner. All right, I was maybe a little bit more than they were. But yeah, I was doing it to advance, but everyone else was doing it.
Right.
So anyway. And when I was following Patrick, I was riding his boot, and I knew that the only chance was this little flick he'd give into Coram. And I thought, I'm going to wait till with a couple of laps to go, or the second last lap.
And every you, the black one here?
Yeah, I'm the black
see if
one,
we can get it getting closer to it.
Yeah, that's Wardby in front of me. Anyway,
right.
Pass him after a bit.
Yeah.
And
wow. Yeah, sorry, go on. You were going to
yeah, so I thought, I'll leave to the second last lap, or the last lap, I've got to do it. And I knew that this little flick, now I just get to, you give it a flick, and I was on this side, you give it a flick, and I get to about there each time, but not enough to sort of really have a fair crack at the chicane through. So, but this one, but I was following Patrick. I mean, to stay with him, I had to not get out of his draft, otherwise he was going to drop back.
Yeah.
So I was so close to him, and all I'm looking at is the rev counter. I don't look at my pitch signals or anything. I don't need. They don't need to tell me anything. I know what's happening. So all I was looking at was the rev counter, right on every time, into fifth every time, and I knew if I get out, I'd go and it'd be gone, and then there's no way I was going to pull it back again. So I wasn't looking at flags, pits, or anything. All the rev counter, all the time.
Yeah.
So, and it was like that all the way around, and so I didn't see any black flag. And apparently I had 11 black flags, and I didn't see one.
Really?
Except I did. I think the lap before it all went wrong, I saw a flag come out. I've got a black flag there. That wouldn't be for me. I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So
they might not have put your number board next to it, did they?
I don't think they did.
Because they did later, but I don't think they always had that as a rule.
Yeah. Anyway, it's some problem I might not have seen it. Well, you would, but anyway. Anyway, the thing was, I think for 2 laps I might have seen it. I thought, is that black flag? I said, no, it must be for the chap who's coming up behind me. So I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so we're coming around the corner, and then Patrick gives it an extra big flick. So all of a sudden, I'm there. And now I'm sort of, if you get close to them, you've still got the draft of the car. If you go out there, you're into your headwind. If you keep in there, there's still a vacuum down the side of the car. None of you know that. But there is.
Yeah.
It pulled me right up to just about level with him.
Yeah.
Going into the left and the right. Well, Patrick ain't going to give away. And I've got for the left-hander, I've got the inside, so he knew it was a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So I've got the inside. So he decides to straight line the whole thing, just go across the grass.
Ah.
Well, what he didn't know, and I didn't know either, there was a curb about that big, just sticking up. I don't know why it was there, but it was. So he hit it. It launched him into the air. I remember looking. I could see underneath his car. He's right up here. I remember looking underneath his car. I mean, bloody hell. So, because it looked so severe, I gave him enough room when he landed to be able to get himself together and not crash. So I left him a car's width. I was, the curb was right over there. But he landed, and the curb had busted his left-hand front. The wheel just disintegrated.
Right.
So when he landed, it just hit the back of me. And
that's why you see him stop at the end after that. Because I couldn't work out, because it spun you around from the footage that I saw.
Yeah, I thought I was going to hit the barrier. And
I
remember shrinking into my seat like it wasn't half quick.
Because that's the first footage I've seen of the fast Russell. I'd heard about this fabled fast Russell. I'd never seen it because the only time I'd raced it was 96. And it had changed by that point. It changed into the chicane. Yeah, that looked...
I genuinely didn't really... Well, I saw it the last 2 laps, but I thought, it can't be me. I haven't done anything. So, but apparently it's 11 laps they'd had it out.
Really?
And then, as I got out the car at the finish... I managed to. The boot lid came open, and I got a flat tyre as well.
I'll put the full video on when I do the production, so you actually see it. But the car was all over the shop.
the punctured the back as well, and every corner went. It tempted me to spin. Anyway, a couple of laps I managed to finish, but then as I got out of the car, this senior marshal came over to me, said, "I'm arresting you." We're talking about arresting me. He grabbed my arm. Get off, will you? What do you do? You got to come see the clerk of the course. Oh, well, why? He said, overuse of the curb. I said, well, hang on. I just nearly died. Don't you realise that? He said, well, anyway, I had to go and see the clerk of the course. He said, well, you've been using the curb. I said, well, everybody else has. He said, no, you're using it more than anyone else. I said, I don't think I am. And anyway, cost me 250 quid that did, which was quite a lot of money then.
Yeah.
And I went to Peter Briggs, whose team it was. I was driving for Peter. I said, Peter, they just sold me 250 quid. Is that down to you or me? He says, it's down to you, mate. I said, well, I haven't got it. Well, I had, but I thought, well, I'm not paying it that high. So I'd pay them 50 quid at a time or something, just to drag it out a bit, you know. So I was so angry about it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Talking about races where you'd, when you produced a fantastic performance, the one race that I'd like to talk to you about, or like you to talk about, is, now it was a British Grand Prix support race. Metro, they haven't got any footage. I've not got any photos that I could find from your Metro stuff.
I got the CD of that, actually.
Oh, have you? Yeah. Right, okay. But tell me about that one race where you started, where you had a problem in scrutineering, didn't you?
Yeah, I'll
and
tell
had
you what,
loads of F1 boys in it. And also, if you wouldn't mind, just talk a little bit about you, because you were struggling with your personal life a little bit around that sort of time with your.
Yeah, a lot of things together, and then well, actually, it wasn't until '89 that I actually split up with my wife. She was a school teacher, and she went off with the headmaster. I mean, flipping heck, you can't have a bigger hurt than that. I mean, that really, really hurt. The worst hurt I've ever had in my life, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I really loved that girl, and she went off with another bloke. You know, the headmaster of the headmaster of the school, you can't stop that. They got all day, every day to work on them.
Yeah.
You can't stop it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so off she went, and
so you'd had a separation, so you were in a good state.
well, yeah, she'd gone off. Yeah.
About that, was that not long before this race then?
Yeah, that was. No, I can't remember. That was in CRX. Oh well, no, I did CRX after we split up, and yeah, I was in a right turmoil around that stage. But yeah, there were. I can't remember the problems. Well, I know that. I don't know what caused it all. I still don't know to this day. But somebody at Rover, on the management side, high up, had it in for me, and I still don't know why to this day. And he persuaded, or paid maybe, even the scrutineer to pick me out and stop me, because it looked as I was going to win there was the British and the European Championship, and it looked as if I was going to win the British Championship, which I did, but they put everything in my path to stop me. And one of the things is, he was ever so strict when I was going to scooter. That's fair enough, because I never cheated in racing at all. I never cheated at all, intentionally. So what everybody started to do, at least half the grid is on it, had cut the engine mountings and lowered the engine by 1/4 of an inch, as if that's going to make any blinking difference. Anyways, I thought, well, everybody's doing it. Perhaps it does make a difference. Anyway, it made sod all different. I mean, 1/4 of an inch doesn't do anything. So I'd done that, and so when I went to scrutineering after practice, I was on pole, and I won't mention that, well, he's dead now anyhow, but I won't mention his name anyway, so it doesn't matter. But he was in cahoots with, Rover management. So he said, you've lowered the engine, you're disqualified, time disallowed, just start at the back of the grid. Well, luckily for me, they'd given me 10 seconds. It was just start at the back of the grid.
Right.
But
Am I right in saying it's a British Grand Prix support race?
Yeah, big,
so
there was a big
there's a
crowd
lot
there.
of people in it.
They went off, yeah.
Who else? I seem to remember you telling me Alan Jones was in it. Is that the race where Alan Jones was in?
There's a Formula 1 driver in it.
I think it was Alan Jones, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It was the chap who owns that big piece of land in Scotland, Jonathan.
Oh, Johnny Dumfries.
Dumfries, yeah. Him.
Yeah.
Formula 3, just won his Formula 3 championship. He was in it. And umpteen others, you know. So anyway, I thought I was so angry at such a trivial thing and such a major disqualification. All right, I had done it, but most of the grid had done it, you know. Why were they picking on me? And I was blooming angry about that. I don't often get angry about things like that anyway. Anyway, I was angry. So I'd really worked myself into a good state about this. So, yeah, we're on the grid now and I'm at the back. And I think, was it lights or flag? I can't remember now. Anyway, I had a good start. Like a blinking good start. I mean, I was through 2 rows before that. Well, you know, the ones at the back don't know what they're doing anyway, do they? And I went straight through 2 rows into Cops. I'd gone through another row round the outside because everyone was hogging the inside, up to the old
Beckett's.
The old Beckett's.
Yeah.
It's quite a sharp corner.
Yeah.
And it was a right melee going on there, everybody running into each other, cars all over the place. I just drove right round the outside, and all of a sudden I was up to about, I don't know, 12th or something, out of about 30 cars.
You're right.
And so anyway, you know, I settled down and I took a few deep breaths, settled myself down, and I just gradually worked my way through the grid and came across the F3 driver, absolute messer. Just drove straight past him. I don't know what he was doing. But then I called Dumfries up, and actually I didn't. Oh yes, I did know it was Dumfries. I thought, oh, Narmy, yeah, well, okay, well you're next, mate. And so we're going down. Anyway, how did I get past him? It wasn't difficult actually. It was quite an easy pass down the inside of him. He sort of half blocked me. I thought, that's not good enough. And I was through.
Fag packet. It needs to be bigger than a fag packet.
Well, yeah, you know, you don't...
Smaller than a fag packet.
You don't leave a fag packet for me. And anyway, so it had started raining, actually, just down the one end of the circuit, all down Stowe Straight and all round that part of the circuit. And the other end was dry. So... Anyway, I caught Dumfries, squeezed through, and now, so he's following me, and we're getting off around the dry, and I mean, you know, he's staying with me and everything, and I thought, well, you know, I'm just going to beat him this. So now, it's raining harder than ever, and we come round Beckett's, and, you know, a bit gentle around there, both, you know, slithering and sliding. Now we're off down Stowe Straight, and I'm not kidding you, the water was deep. We're on slicks.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, and vaguely I could see some wheel marks where somebody had been, only ever so vaguely. And I thought, I've got to keep in those. It's got to be slightly shallower than the rest of it. And I thought, I've got to keep it flat out. And I thought, if I lift, it's just going to bite, and like you're in the barrier shadow. So I had to go. It was snaking like anything, you know, all the way down. And Dumfries was riding my boot, and he was going. And anyway, of course, he was in my wheel track, so he wasn't getting the same sort of snaking as I was getting. And then I saw him having a look down the inside, coming up to the braking. And I thought, I had time to look out the window, and I thought, that water looks so deep out there, you can't be going down there, mate. And anyway, he disappeared out my mirror, and I knew he was there somewhere. And anyway, I judged it just kept it about right and managed to stay on. Now, and you come out of Stowe then, and another 100 yards, and it was dry again. So I came round and I looked in my mirror, and I thought, well, where is he? And I started looking, he's got to be one side of the other. And he wasn't there at all, he was gone. He must have run wide and, run onto the grass.
Yeah.
And I went, that was the last lap, and went in and won it. I mean, that was pretty pleasing, that was.
Right from the back.
I mean,
I remember you saying you were in tears
none of that sunk in, actually, till I actually crossed the line, how pleasing it was, because you're concentrating so hard on what you're doing and getting everything. I remember braking for Stowe at the bottom there, and I remember thinking, this is how tuned in you are. Don't go on the white line, that's going to be slippery, because obviously it's painted. And I knew the curves were going to be very slippy. And I thought that white line's going to be slippy as well. So I kept, and I've got a picture, I'm like about 1.5 inches off the, this is how fine you get to it when there's so much adrenaline going. You can judge things to such a fine judgment. That, and anyway, what a pleasing race to win that was.
Right from the back of the grid. And you said, was it the same race you said you were in tears at the start of it because you were just so upset in A, getting chucked to the back, and B, your personal life is all in bits. And it's interesting when you can just drag that performance out of yourself when you're that.
You're angry and you're disappointed with everything that's happened, and you're angry, and I know it must have brought the best out in me. So, but the thing is, whatever's going on in your mind, all you do when you're driving a car, you're just driving it to get the best out of it, aren't you? The very fine limits, and when you're under that state, the fine limits get even finer. You judge things to a very fine art, and
that's when it gets really interesting, just finding those little bits, and that's someone's really good. Well, Tafty, it's got to 3 o'clock. I'm going to have to scoot back off home. But it's been, mate, I've really enjoyed. I knew I would. I really enjoyed the conversation. I could probably sit here for another 4 hours and just talk more about like allotments, playing clarinets, soothing your customers with classic FM. I said on the intro, I said Rob Gareth will once introduce you as the only clarinet playing, beekeeping.
Well, it was when I started to play the clarinet that I actually suddenly realised I was dyslexic. I never knew till that point.
Oh, really?
And that's why I was a duffer at school. You just labelled as a dunce. They didn't know anything about it then, did they? And so you're always sort of down a grade to everyone else's. But I was dyslexic, I didn't know. Until I started playing the clarinet, I was trying to read music. I missed that note altogether.
Couldn't see it.
And then after I started to think about it, and I noticed when I'm reading, still do, I read a sentence, and not only do I get words wrong all the time because I just misread them. I miss a letter or something, and it comes out different. I have to go back and read I realise at the end of the sentence, oh, that's not right. Now I go back and read, I missed that word out. It didn't sound right, and then I thought, obviously. But they didn't have dyslexism then, did they? Well,
no.
They didn't know what it was.
Yeah, dyslexia. It was. I think Jackie Stewart said the same thing actually, because his son Paul was diagnosed. I think it was either Paul or Mark was diagnosed with dyslexia, and then the teacher had sort of either noticed his writing or he got involved in a conversation, and he said, "Well, do you mind if I do the test?" And he got it as well.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop you. It only stops you with when you're doing exams and trying to work things out like that. But if you've got to cut a tree up or something like, you see things differently. You see mechanical things differently.
Yeah, I think it's Richard Branson that says it's his superpower, and that's. So I had a.
He's dyslexic, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. So I had a mechanic that was also dyslexic, very heavily dyslexic actually, but he was really good with his hands, and he's won the British Touring Car Championship as a mechanic come engineer on multiple occasions. And he's just very good with his. He just understood how things work, and you just go about it in a different way. It's just because you're thinking differently to everyone else. It's not hindrance. In some ways, it can be helpful, but at school, it's just back then it was not really judged.
It's actually it's the opposite to very intelligent people don't see the wood for the trees. They just don't see the obvious. And they get it in a different way. A similar thing, I suppose, but the opposite end of it. And but you know, it hasn't held me back. We did at school, but I mean, it hasn't stopped me training Louis to perfection. Louis is an absolutely lovely dog, and aren't you, Louis? Louis, hello, Louis. We're going for a tatty in a minute, aren't we, over the road? And you're going for a sprinter, aren't you? Then you will get your bonio when you get back, won't you, Louis? Ooh, nice bonio for you, Louis.
Mega. Well, Tafty, thank you very much. It's been lovely to see you again.
Anthony,
and we'll do it again sometime.
Room, really, didn't we? Ran out of time.
Well, I'll come down and see the allotments, mate, sometime.
Oh, okay.
And it's been great.
Yeah, all right.
Right, I better scoot off up to Scotland.
Yeah, there's proper work in me. Don't forget your glasses.
Yeah. How brilliant was Tafty? I've waited ages to have that conversation. And he didn't disappoint. Yeah, I didn't get to speak to him about the Birmingham Super Prix. You're going to sleep now, are you? About coaching, future touring car drivers, just about anyone who's done front wheel drive has been coached by Tafty. What a great character. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you could, to the channel, that helps me to bring you more content like that. Otherwise, we'll say goodbye, Sooty. We'll catch you next time.